This is Nuke Marine, and this should be the Remembering the Kanji Optimize 2K1KO 1 through 555. Alright, I'm going to wait until I'm seeing that the audio is coming from being recorded and also is going to the stream. And there's usually about a 10-second delay from when the stream starts to when I can verify the audio. And here we are. That the audio is coming from being recorded and also is going to the stream. Alright, so it looks like that works. So, like I said, I made a Reddit post to announce this. Normally I don't. I make the announcement inside the Shitsu Monday thread, and I'll announce it. I'll say, hey, I'm streaming for a couple hours, and then I'll delete that message after the stream is done. That's been going well for the last month or whatnot, because again, you definitely don't want to be spamming Reddit. Again, trying to hawk your own product, even if it's for free. The issue here was that for the last day or so, Memrise, what I've been doing is on Memrise, I go through a course, and while I'm going through the course, I'll also live stream my studying / reviewing of this, and talking about things in Japanese, about Japanese. In this case, though, it was been down for a day or so because if I did any type of reviewing, it wouldn't save that, so it would never go forward. I mean, you'd probably have to fight the system, try to get it to work. There are ways to do that. I just was not going to be doing it. So what I was going to do is hold off, and I thought about creating a new course, but when I tried to create a new course, in this case it was episode 2 of Zettai Kadeshi, anything I uploaded wasn't saving to the lessons. So it was this complete waste of effort. The only thing I really could do was what I was doing was starting to upload the audio files for the part 3 of vocabulary and part 4 of vocabulary. However, what I said now is, okay, let's just make use of this time. This is something I've been planning to do for the last 2 or 3 weeks, which is, earlier what was happening is when I was streaming, I was just streaming my study session, that was it. And then I realized, well, hey, you know what, I'm learning stuff actively at the time, like I'm actually reading over the material, to figure out what the word or this grammar point is, and I realized, I was like, actually, this is a good point, since these are archived, I can timestamp the point when I'm actually learning something new. And that could be good for people in the future to go back and reference when they're starting to go through this material and learn it for the first time. They can click on that link and it'll take them straight to the point in time which I was learning that material as well. And they can hear it from my point of view. Because this is, again, I've already reviewed this material, most of this material I've already reviewed like 8 or so years ago. And I'm kind of already aware about what the meanings are, and some things that the beginner may not be aware of. So it could be of a benefit to there. However, I'd already done like half the basic course. Like I'd already done Kanji, Kana, grammar and vocabulary for part 1 was already done, and I didn't even stream. I was just doing that on my own, and so it made me realize that maybe I should go back and start doing these videos. So yeah, so again, I've gone on to, let's say right here, Suggested Guide for Japanese Literacy. So this is on the KUI forum, so I go to Group Study, right here, Daily Streaming of Nuke Marine's Japanese Self-Study Sessions. So if you go on there, you'll see here are the links, and right now I've just done, I'm actually entirely done with this part 2 of the vocabulary course. So those are all on video, those are all archived, and I'll be getting the links up there soon. And so next is supposed to be Zettai Kadeshi episode 2, but again, I can't do that while I'm memorized because they're having issues at the moment. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go I'm not going to redo the redo the lesson part. I'm just going to go through the previews of the course number for Kanji. So that's going to be this right here. So I'm going to go this right here, SGJL 03, Remembering the Kanji, which is, now I'm going to probably call it Remembering the Kanji Optimized, which what I'll do is I take the 555 kanji from the COSCOM's 2001.kanji.odyssey book 1. And that's a vocabulary book that lists kanji in order, in a really intuitive order. Once you've actually learned kanji, you realize how intuitive this order they have is. And it's a great order in which to learn vocabulary. It's horrible order in which to learn kanji in bulk, like we who have done Remembering the Kanji have gotten used to. Actually, let me pause real quick and go on down here. Review 3. Okay. So again, it was an interesting order in which to learn vocabulary. It's not a great order in which to learn kanji in bulk. In fact, for learning kanji in both, there's Kodansha's Kanji Learning Course, there's Heizig's course. I personally prefer Heizig because that's the first thing I used. Alright, now, I'm completely done with this course. I'm just going to redo it, and that's fairly easy to do. I just go to, it's like I can click on lesson 1 here, and go to preview, and now I can actually go and preview through the course, and that's what I'm going to be doing for the entire course of 555 kanji. It's going to take a while because of here's the plans for doing it. Alright, so after I do the introduction and then the resources for whatnot, and I'll just remind you about how to find those. I'll bring up the review, and then I'll bring up the preview. Say, for example, preview. Again, I haven't started yet. I'm just giving it, this is more of an introduction as to what my purpose is, and this would be 9. It's out of order. It should be number 1 right now. That's going to be easy to get to. Alright, then I'd bring up my alright, make sure I got this in order. Alright, bring up right here is the a PDF of Heizig's Remembering the Kanji Volume 1. You can get like the Part 1. You can get a lot of these kanji for free from Heizig's site on Nanzin's university webpage. And again, this is a very good book to read through to understand his thinking as to why this is a very good way of learning kanji separate from learning Japanese. Like learn kanji first, then learning Japanese. And when you learn kanji, it has nothing to do about learning pronunciations. Because again, two other languages, technically 4, use kanji in their own way. I mean, they don't even know a word of Japanese, but they use kanji just fine. Kanji is not Japanese. Japanese use kanji in their language. Now, what he's trying to do is like basically teach you what this kanji could do in English. Now he's trying to relate it to relate it roughly to how the Japanese use that kanji, though. So that's kind of hard to explain, but you're kind of doing this. Yes and no. It's in a ass backwards manner of, okay, you're learning kanji as if it were something in English. Then you're going to use that kanji and learn why you're learning Japanese and how Japanese use that kanji. That does sound weird, but the benefit is that when you're learning kanji like this, you learn in intuitive order. He builds upon each thing. So like again, he'll teach these very 5 basic characters, and then what he does, he shows you with those 15 characters that you've learned, or really these 5 basic ones. Here's all these various kanjis you can build with that. Then in the next part, he's going to introduce a few other segments of kanji, and then show you, okay, with just these extra bits, here's some more stuff you can build with that. And he's limiting it to what's called the Joyo kanji, this set of 2,000 or so kanji that the Japanese government says that yes, all literate Japanese people should know these kanjis, and you know the use of furigana is not necessary for these kanji. People should just know these words and these pronunciations. Which is fine and all that. What I did, though, is, what a few other people have agreed with, is that the idea is that this is 2,000 is a bit too much. The concept is great, but learning all 2,000 for a working adult who may only have an hour or 2 to dedicate to learning Japanese a day is different than an adult who moved to Japan and was dedicating 8 to 12 hours a day learning Japanese. So he backed it off a bit and said, okay, what if we just took the 555 kanji, or a subset of kanji, let's say JLPT 1, 3, and 4, and then later on JLPT 2. This is way before the changes to the JLPT, and then learn that in Heizig's order. So basically, learn a subset of Heizig's kanjis in the same order. So that's when we're calling this optimized, or why I'm calling it optimized. So this is 555 kanji you'll be learning, and these 555 kanji are going to account for. I'll just say that if you just use those 555 kanji, that would be, of the core 6K series, that would cover, I want to say, 3,500 words. 2,500 words are using just those 555 kanji, and another 1,000 are only using kana, hiragana, katakana, which doesn't use kanji at all. Alright, so that's like over half of the vocabulary. Then you got another. Actually, no, I'm sorry, it's 3,500 plus in it. Yeah, let's see, make sure I'm getting this. Yeah. So it's 3,500 words, just use those 555 kanji. Then another 1,000 or so words just use Kana. So yeah, that's 4,500 words out of the core of the 6,000 vocabulary words. They're considered the basics, like gets you up to JLPT N2 level of vocabulary, and you're good to go. You're golden. I'm probably, yeah. Then another, I'm probably off of my numbers here. Actually, let's see, it was 1,500, let's see, 2,500, 1,500, 1,500, 1,000, and then about 1,000 or so. Okay, my numbers may be a little bit off, but yeah, it just covers a lot of vocabulary. You're going to use these kanji a lot. Let me just stress that. Alright, so anyway, so what I'll do is, so the way the lesson starts, like I was trying to mention. Okay, so I start the lesson. Let's say this is the first kanji in that lesson. All right, so I'll say my introduction. I'll say this is lesson 2 or lesson 8 of the kanji. And then what I'll do is I'll bring up my PDFs. I'll say, all right, so here is, let's say, lesson 2. So here are the 15 kanji we're going to be learning. So old, right, goods, early, generation, oneself, white, 100, in. All the way, and we're skipping. You notice we're going from 52 to 56, so we're going to be skipping kanji because again we're covering only a quarter of the kanji that are in the book, remembering the kanji, but we're covering kanji that are going to account for 70% of all the vocabulary words you're going to run into that use kanji. All right, so we'll say, okay, we're going to be learning that, and then if this is a new lesson, lesson 2, so I'll bring up, this is my cheat sheet when I was teaching kanji on the military base in Japan, and I'll say, okay, yeah, here's my cheat sheet. And again, the downloads or the links to the download this are on the description of the Memorize course. So yeah, I'll say, okay, we're going to be also learning some of these primitives, or these are the kanji that are used in other kanji, more complicated kanji. So it's going to be old person, Mr. Burns, early, or in this case, sunflowers. You can not what these mean as a kanji, but what these mean when they're used as primitives inside other kanji. So yeah, that's kanji for white, but when you see it in other kanji, maybe white dove, or something that represents white dove. Maybe Aragorn, because when he's wearing the dove-crowned head, or the crown for the winged helmet. Glue gun, hand grenade, holy hand grenade. You know, these things right here. These are things you'll see in other kanji. And then a little story of something I have, or a little description I have to say, hey, yeah, this is how you can use it. Also tend to like to lean on cartoon characters when I deal with primitives, because to me I can visualize cartoon or comic book characters because I can visualize those better in my head. Alright, so yeah, so I'll go, then I might go to the lesson introduction, and then so I've already introduced the lesson. Then as I go on to it, so now I'll go to, let's say, let me bring this up. So yeah, I want to go to 9, or so I'll go to bring up my. So real quickly, I'll look at 9. So if you take care of remember the stroke or the kanji, you won't have trouble for it later. Okay, and this is the peg leg with the club foot dragging behind the club foot, and this was a baseball team. All right, so I'll quickly look at that story. Then I bring up this right here. And there I say there's peg leg, 1, club foot. Now this is all actually one stroke, the 1 followed by the club foot. And then what I'll do is bring up this right here. So, alright, so cool, here we go. And this is a little drawing, I've got a little drawing pad, so I'm actually using a pen here. So let's say, alright, so what we're doing is 9. First thing, let's learn how to draw 9. So what you want to do is draw the club foot. Okay, and when you draw the club foot, and it's actually all one stroker, you're going to draw the 1 and then end with the club foot. So yeah, this is called the peg leg. Peg leg, and club foot. Alright, peg leg, club foot. Alright, so that's the idea. And then I'll say, now when you see this in other kanji, if you happen to see it, this might appear in other kanji like, well, I think one that comes to mind is this right here. Let's say rising sun, Asahi, or whatnot. But anyway, you'll say you're going to think about a baseball or a baseball team, right, or a baseball player. Just try to think. I imagine, I don't know why, I think it's because it's pigeon related. I think of the pigeon in a baseball outfit, but that's because the kanji for pigeon is 9 and the kanji for bird, the primitive for bird, and then the primitive for 9. So I don't. But anyway, which I know that's kind of unrelated, but let's see. I think it was, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong on this. I'm going off long-term memory or something. That's very ugly. Now I'm using a writing pad, and I'm using. So this is not a very intuitive way of doing it. Maybe if I, because I'm trying to match up what I'm seeing here with what my hand is doing, and that's. But at least you can visually see I'm talking and writing at the same time, and you can kind of visually see it. I might. I would do it on the screen, but I'm not sure if it'll probably react weirdly. Like if I touched on the screen, I can't react with the screen. Maybe if I find a, actually I do know, there is a on-screen writer program. I might work into that, but for right now I'm just going to be using Smooth Draw to introduce these kanji. Okay, and then all I got to do is press Control Delete, and bam, we're back in business. Reason why I like using Smooth Draw here is that I put in some of these grid lines so I can at least be a little consistent with how I'm drawing these kanji, presenting them to you. So yeah, that's the path. I introduce the lesson, and then each of the kanji I'm going to go to the. I might actually skip going to Hazek's entries because that is a copyrighted book, and I think it's preferable if I just teach these based on ideas or how the stories which I've learned it. Teach it kind of on my own or from stuff that I got from Kanji.kuhi website, which is where a lot of my stories were come. I posted a lot of stories, but also I got stories from other people. There was like a community effort developing all of this. This is not all for me, at nowhere in the slightest. Okay, so that's the introduction. So I'll link to that as being, okay, this is what we're covering. Now, why I like to do this as a live stream. Somebody can go here, and if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching this live stream, you can make comments and say, hey man, you're not being clear, or hey, I can't hear you, or hey, I'm not seeing what you're doing, or hey, this is confusing. You just said something that just completely rattled my brain. You know, maybe, again, I'm going to be making mistakes here, or skipping stuff, and that's fine. Then I can go and correct myself. And I'd rather do it live than, because I am lazy enough, I'm not going to go through and edit all these hours of videos. I'm not that type of person. I'm a very lazy person when it comes to that. I'd rather just, here, record me doing something really badly, and it's there, but it stays badly, that's fine. But no one else has ever done it, so there. If somebody wants to go by and improve on it, more power to them, I'll link to that instead. There's nothing very special about the way I'm talking, very special about the way I'm presenting this material. It's just, I'm probably the only guy that's been doing it, and I'm going to do this, probably going to be the only time you're going to see people do it in this manner. And yes, I know, I did do Remembering the Kana as video series, and a half hour of that took about 2 to 3 hours to complete, because, I mean, again, people who have done videos on YouTube can contest to that, is that making a video, making it of quality, takes time and effort, and it's not what I'm going to be dedicating for now. Alright, so that's done. Alright, so the and let me just bring up, let's see, I think it's going to be Discord. I made an announcement, and yeah, it looks like no one actually cares, so that's fair. Alright. Alright, so this is, let me just go back out of here, pause this, save and exit, go to the groups. Okay, so that was about a 20-minute or so introduction. Alright, so let us begin. So first thing you want to do, normally what I do, I have links to my group here, which is the Suggested Guide for Japanese Literacy Study Group. Currently I'm sitting at about 600 members. In this is course number 3, is Remembering the Kanji Optimized, which is 2001 KO, 2001.kanji.odyssey, book 1, taught in Remembering the Kanji order. Alright, so let's go to the introductions to this course real quick. Alright, so here is the links to all the resources. You have a sample RTK chapter on the Nanzan University website, reviewing the kanji, which is now called Kanji.kohi, which is great for sharing shared stories. You have a stroke order PDF for kanji in these 36 lessons. That's this, let me bring up the PDF. So that's this right here. So this is a 36-page PDF of all 555 kanji that include the stroke order. So it has the Heisig number, the Heisig keyword, and then the kanji. So that's the what the stroke order looks like. You have kanji stories PDF for kanjis, and again, that's I don't have that brought up, but again, it's for 36 lessons. Those is basically a copy of the my stories I had for kanji from Kanji.kohi website. Notes: I included RTK numbers to help you rapidly find the kanji and other resources. Joyo no. The reason is a lot of people have Heisig numbers. They probably don't have the 2001.ko 2001.kanji.odyssey numbers. These are normally called indexes. They help you rapidly find, depending on resources. And I use a lot of spreadsheets, so resources are really important. All right, so that's the introduction to the entire course, and the links to the material relevant to that this entire course. Now we're going to go on to lesson 6, resources for lessons 1 through 6. We still haven't started. We're still on introduction. All right, so again, most of these are a repeat of stroke orders. In addition to, we have primitive cheat sheets. I think from about lessons 1 through 18, I have cheat sheets for that, and that's right here. So this is called the primitive lessons. And it's set by all lessons. Each lesson is about 15 kanji. So these are the primitives that are taught or are necessary or become new primitives that have been introduced in this lessons. It may not necessarily be in order of what you see in the Heisig's book, because again, maybe kanji that are using a primitive, but that primitive doesn't come up for a kanji that's being taught in this course till later. So that's why it does take time. This was when I was teaching kanji on Fleet and Family Service Center on the Yokosuka Naval Base a few years back. And yeah, I was only going to go up to 18 lessons anyway, which was turning into about 2 months worth of courses, because I was teaching a course twice a week, something like that. Yeah. So it was just taking a long time, and again, number of students has kept decreasing and decreasing, because again, they don't appreciate free classes too much. The ones that were attending did enjoy it, but again, the time investment started to get kind of difficult for them. All right, cool. So that's So we got stroke orders, we got primitives, and then, let's see, come here. Alright, then we have here is lesson 1 of remembering the kanji. Remember the kanji optimized, which are the 555 kanji from 2001.kanji.odyssey in RTK order. Alright, so the time is now 23 minutes. Okay, 0 hours, 23 minutes. Alright, so this is for lesson 1. So again, this is Suggested Guide for Japanese Literacy, Course 3, which is the Remembering the Kanji Optimized, numbers 1 through 555. This is lesson 1, which are covering these 15 kanji. These 15 kanjis we'll also see are as I said, I think we'll avoid looking at the Heisig book. We'll keep this as if it's gonna. All right, so we're gonna be learning here. Here are the kanji we'll be learning: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mouth, day, month, rice field, and eye. And we'll find out also not just the keywords, but we'll find out how to write a kanji, and we'll also learn other meanings for kanji. Only thing we are not going to be learning in this lesson or in this course are Japanese pronunciations. We are learning kanji. And kanji are used by more than just Japanese. So in this case, we're learning kanji as if it were an English concept. Alright, so these are the kanji. Also in this lesson, here are the primitives we will be covering. Either this primitive here we'll be using as either a ceiling or floor. This primitive we'll be thinking of as car key, or the number 5, or maybe 5 senses. This kanji here for diced or cut. This primitive here for baseball. This primitive for either for needle, and this primitive for mouth, which could be jaws, could cut or something. All right, we'll just. I won't do this here, this part then. I'll wait till it pops up. I'll refer to it when as it happens. This is the first time I tried streaming this as a lesson format, so it's going to be interesting. All right, so what you do is you go to preview. Now, right now the order of it starting at 9, but that's easy to overcome. All you do is go forward 6 spots. 12, 13, 14, 15. There we go. 1. All right. Now ignore these pronunciations. Those are there for later, for people like myself who, again, study Heizig, but then they begin learning vocabulary in Japanese, and then when they go back, this keyword starts being confusing because this keyword wasn't related to any of the words that they learned in Japanese, as far as the English translation for those words. So again, do not worry about pronunciation. This is not about pronunciation. This is about writing, remembering, recognizing kanji, and writing it from memory. All right, so the key word is 1. So when you hear the word 1, think of one straight line, like the Roman numeral 1 laying down on the floor. When you see this in other kanji, think floor if it's near the bottom of the ceiling. So this is just as we showed in here. Yeah, so if it's at the top, it's a ceiling. If it's at the bottom, it's a floor. All right, so let's see that. So right here. Okay, so here's 1. So start here. It's one straight line. One straight line. All right, one straight line. Now, if it's at the top here, try to imagine it being the ceiling of the ceiling of something, or the top of something. All right, and you'll also see it in other kanji, like it'll be something right here, and then this is at the bottom. When it's there, think of it as the floor of something, baseboards or something, whatever. Maybe even the carpet. So maybe this could be ceiling fan, and this could be carpet. Maybe that'll make things a little easier for you. Ceiling fan and carpet. Those are probably easier visuals than ceiling and floor. Ceiling fan, carpet. All right, so that's 1. 2. All right, 2. This is 2 strokes. This is the Heizig number for 2. All right, so now it's the Roman numeral 2 on its side. Now imagine 1 short stroke and 1 long stroke. Now other kanji, just think 2. Now you'll see these in other kanji. So just think 2 of something, as I say. So let's bring up here. All right, so this is 2. So this is what we're learning. We're learning 2. So it's 1 short stroke near the top half, middle of the top half, and then 1 long stroke in the middle of the bottom half. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. And again, when you see this with other things, think of 2 of something. Usually it's going to be, you may see it like this, and we'll be learning this real quick. You'll see it like that, and just think of 2 sets of legs, 2 pairs of legs, or 2 people's legs. All right, for example. All right, so that's 2, 2. 3. So 1 plus 2 equals 3. Or 3 is equal to 1 plus 2. So it's going to be the stroke order of 1, then the stroke order for 2. Remember, 1 short line, 1 long line. 1, 2. 1 plus 3 is 1 plus 2. Alrighty. Here we go. So there's 3. 3. And 3 is 1 plus 2. 3 is 3. And then you might see people refer to this in other kanji, like, but we're going to think of it as shape. You might see it like in this right here. You might also see it like this right here. Usually see it like that, which is me, the katakana for me, and also you might see it like in, let's see, shape, something like that. for that, that's not going to be 3, even though it's 3 little slashes, but in that case it's going to be referring to things like shape or whatnot, depending on what side of the kanji it's on. But anyway, so this is 3, and it's also the katakana for me, or mitsu. Yeah, so that's the katakana for me, mitsu, me. Alright, so that's 3. Next up. 4. Now here's where I think Hazig made a mistake by introducing numbers first, because you're seeing parts of kanji that he hasn't taught yet. So so I'm going to have to cover that on its own. So this is the case he's going to see is this kanji for mouth. It's also the primitive for what I call the peg leg and club foot. There's probably an actual, or JL or whatever you want to see it. There's probably a primitive. There's probably a radical name for it. I just don't know it. All right. So jaws 8 for pirates. Now you see the peg leg and club foot sticking out of its mouth. So also for mouth, you'll probably think of Cookie Monster. So here we go. So let's write that out. All right. So here we have is 4. So we have. You gotta love this. 4 and peg leg, club foot. All right. So first thing you want to do is draw the kanji for mouth. So here's the stroke order for that. Okay. Mouth. And now, then you add the peg leg and club foot. All right. So this, what I'm calling the peg. So this is mouth. So think of that. I'll teach you again that later on in this lesson that's for jaws or Cookie Monster, something like a mouth that eats stuff. For this. Think of as peg leg and club foot. What I think of as pirate legs. So right here, this right here, it looks kind of like all curves off to the side, and I call that the peg leg. And then you have here, kind of probably a little more smooth than that, but I call that the club foot. So peg leg and club foot. And you see it up here in beginnings, and then you see it. You'll see it in other. You'll see this in many kanji. But yeah, so I usually refer to that as peg leg and club foot. So there we go. So you have to do mouth. Now I did this wrong, by the way, and I apologize. Oops. All right. So ignore this first half real quick. Let me just redo this real quick. Sorry. All right. So you're going to do the top half of mouth. Then you do peg leg and club foot. There's peg leg. There's club foot, then you close off the mouth. Peg leg, club foot, mouth. All right. So yeah, I'm sorry I made that mistake. All right. So that's 4. Top part of mouth, peg leg, club foot, close off the mouth. And there's jaws 8. 4 pirates. 4 pirates are eaten by jaws, and their peg leg and club foot are sticking out the mouth. Good. All right. So that's 4. Next up. Okay. 5. Again, this is using kanji. This is using parts that are taught later on in the book. Primitives are taught later on in the book, and you're seeing it right now. So in this case, what you're going to be seeing is ceiling or ceiling fan, and stick, and key. All right. Basically, when you're bored, it's 5 o'clock. You throw 5 keys to stick to the ceiling. So let me show you what I'm talking about there. That's 5. All right, so let's clear this. Control delete. Okay. So first off, it's 5, and I probably could do this with. Probably could do this. So do the ceiling, the stick, then the key. All right. So here's the stroke. So here's the ceiling or ceiling fan. So it's 5 o'clock it's 5 o'clock in the evening, and your time's ready to quit. So it's 5 o'clock. So you look up at the ceiling fan. You're bored, so you want to start. You're going to do it. You want to leave, but you can't. So you got your 5 keys, and you're looking at the ceiling. You want to toss the keys through the ceiling fan and see if you can stick to the ceiling. All right. So there's that. Here's the stick to stick to the ceiling. Here's the. Now right here, we're going to show you real quick. This right here is stick. One straight line stick. In this case, it's slanted a little bit. In this case, it's slanted a little bit, but yeah, that's stick. And then also what you're going to learn is this thing called key. It also looks like, if you know, it's YU or U for Kana, katakana. But when you see it used in other kanji, you'll see it as you think of a car key. So in this case, stick and car key. In this, I usually think of a bladed of a naga, but don't worry about that. Okay. Sometimes I think of this whole thing as, yeah, that right here. I think of that whole thing as, okay. So there we got the ceiling, the stick, first part of the car key, ceiling, the stick, second part of the car key. Alright, good. And there you go. So you quit at 5. Quit at 5. Line, down, and then finish it off with the car keys. Alrighty. So what else we got? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay. You can actually think of it, the line and the thing. You'll see them both. Might think of the whole thing as a car key. Alright, next up. Okay, and again, we're seeing two parts of a new kanji. We're seeing top hat and animal legs. So here we have top hat, animal legs. And again, these are taught later on in the book, but he throws these at you at the very first 10 kanji, completely undermining what he was telling you about. Okay, so again, I'm going to have some, during these lessons, I'm going to have some complaints about how Hazik presented material and how, but the beauty of the internet is that through group effort, I think these group loved what Hazik did and they improved on what he did and made it in a much more better system of learning. Alright, so here we have is top hat, 6, top hat, and animal legs. So what can you create with that story? So there's top hat, there's animal legs. Alright, so imagine a gorilla with 6-pack abs. Actually, let me go and edit that. Can I edit that? Choose another name. Alright, let me edit that. Imagine a gorilla. Here we go. Imagine a gorilla with 6-pack abs. Okay, there we go. Let's save that. It's supposed to. Alright. So imagine a girl with 6-pack abs, wearing a top hat, dancing on little animal legs. Alright, there we go. So I think it's pretty simple to think of that. So first off, let's show you the. So here's top hat. And it's usually at the top of kanji, so it's usually you got other stuff here. And this we'll say is car key. Car key. We'll call the whole thing car key. Alright, so top hat is do a straight line down, straight down. About, you can see in the top half, top half of the top half. And then basically do one. And that's top hat. Think of the top hat of Abraham Lincoln, stove top hat. Top hat. Then what we have here are, usually they're down here. Animal legs. So it's usually 1, 2. And if you know the kanji for hachi, for 8, it's also, but it's like smaller versions of that. And you're going to see this in, usually it's at the bottom of kanji stuff. So those are little animal legs. Alright, so for 6, you're going to see is top hat. Oh, I guess it would help if, well anyway, let's back up a little bit. Alright, so you do a little stove top of the top hat, finish off the stove top. Stovetop, one leg, stovetop, boom, both legs, boom, 6, done. Yep. Alright, so that's a kanji for 6, and there's all sorts of pronunciations for it, but don't sweat that. Alright, 6. Next up, what else you got? Alrighty. Actually, let me do something real quick. Let me shrink this down a little bit. Come on, you. It's weird. It's like it doesn't want me to. Huh. That's kind of weird. Alright, good. Okay, so that's 6. I don't recall that being, anyway, I don't recall 6 being used in other kana, or other kanji. Alright, so that's 6. So next up, Next. Hello? There we go. 7. Alright, so it's a slice and clubfoot. Let me make sure. So here's the stroke order real quick. Let me go and bring that up. So it's going to be a slice, then the clubfoot. Okay. So here think 7 samurai, where in one scene you see the slice of the sword cuts off the clubfoot of one of the bad guy pirates. So 7 samurai, slice of the sword cuts off somebody's club-footed leg. Now when you see this in other kanji, when you see it in other, as a primitive other kanji, you're going to think either slice or dice or cut or chop, maybe just a butcher's knife, you know, a small knife. Okay, let's bring up story. Okay, Control Enter, get rid of this stuff. Alright, so this is what we're doing, and it's going to be a slight upwards right there, slightly up, and then do the clubfoot. Boom, 7. Yeah, slightly upward, then the clubfoot. Thing 7 samurai. And again, you might see this in other Kana, right there. And that's fine. Again, this something's happening here, and or it might be on the other side. It doesn't matter. Just think of the number, either a sword slicer if you need to. Maybe a samurai with a sword. Samurai with a sword. Sure, that can work. There is a samurai kanji, but that guy you just don't use as a sword. You just think of, you know, in this case, Kurosawa, somebody from Kurosawa cutting somebody in half, cutting somebody's leg in half off. All right, that's 7. Next up, 8. Now here, the font in is going to be different. You're seeing what the font looks like, which is different than what you're actually going to be writing it down. So there's how it looks in fonts, and there are various fonts for kanji, and kana, and that's different than how you normally write it. Same as like you've seen the letter A with the little hook at the top of it, and nobody writes it with the little hook over the top, but it's just how some of the letters are written, or how the G has a little, you know, circular little closing at the bottom. It's how some fonts are designed, and that's not how you're going to write it. So anyway, this 8, 8 mountains on the horizon. So just imagine, however you want to think of as 8, because think of these are like 2 little mountains, and when it's designed, 8 little mountains on the horizon. And these are kind of like the sides of the mountains. When you see these and they're smaller at the base of a kanji, then you're going to think of animal legs, maybe 8 animal legs on a spider. Alright, so let's write this out. Boom. Okay, so here we have is, let's go over here, 8. So we have 8, and then we start at the top. Oh, let me go back here. Okay, 8. 8. And just make sure here's the stroke order. Right there. So maybe not that maybe not that exaggerated. You can. It shouldn't matter. As long as you don't connect them. If you connect them, it might look like a different kanji, which is enter. Okay. So yeah. So it looks like, yeah, they kind of did it kind of like that. Let's see how Hazig did it, just for SMGs. All right. So here's Hazig's book on 8. Yeah, right there. Yeah, he kind of did it either evenly or a little slightly off even. Okay. Alrighty. So that's 8. And again, when used in other, as a primitive, you're going to see it like this. You'll see other stuff above it. Yeah, so just think of 8 little, yeah, right there. Or let me actually do the stroke order. 8. Alright, and that might be something like, you might see it like boom, 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 slap, bam, which is something we'll be learning later. Okay, cool, so that's 8. Next. Alright, so this is going to end the preview portion, so I have to restart the preview, because it started at 9 for some reason. Okay, preview. Alright, so here we are with 9. Peg leg, 1, club foot. Now, this actually is going to be 1 stroke. The 1 and the club foot are going to be merged together. And when you see it in other kanji, think of a baseball team as in 9 people on a baseball team. Or think of baseball or a baseball team. Show the stroke order real quick. So there's the stroke order. So peg leg, and then the second stroke order is all 1. Good. Here's briefly... yeah, it's different than power, what he's mentioning there. Okay. There's not too much to this. Alright, so let's do it. So, what we're going to do is 9. So, do right there, follow with that, and then come on. Alright, so do the peg leg. So imagine you're on a baseball team and you got peg leg, instead of shoeless Joe, you got peg leg and clubfoot Joe. So he's got the peg leg and he's got the clubfoot, which is dragging behind him, which drags, and think of that one as being the dragging the clubfoot behind him. Peg leg and clubfoot, peg leg and clubfoot, and that's 9. And again, if you see it like in, let's say for example, let's say for example we got that, and here for research Kinq. Yeah, it's kind of, it looks weird, but yeah, if you see it like here, you'll have it. It might be stuff right here, or it might be stuff here where there's stuff contained. Either way, you will see it. This thing again of baseball, you might change the story up a little bit to reference each of the different ways it's done. In fact, here's the different primitives. Let's see. Yeah. Well, I don't demonstrate the different ways it's written. More's the pity. Alrighty. So that's 9. 9 members of baseball. All right. Keep going. 10. What's the time right now? 45 minutes. We started at 23. Wow. Okay. Well, it's been 20 minutes so far. This may take longer than I thought. Okay. So here we have, think X in Roman numerals turned a bit. Boom. Angled a bit. In this case, when you, another way you can, I don't know. Yeah, so think of the Roman numeral X turned a bit. You can also think of, when you see another kanji, you can think of needle, like an injection needle. Or maybe the needle for a sewing needle. Depends on how you want to, depends on how your story goes. Let's see, here's the stroke order, real quick. Here's, let's see, Hazing does anything special, needle, and it would be either at the top or the bottom. Alright, cool. So, worry about that. Alright, so here's 10. Do 1 straight across, 1, and a stick. That's 10. That is 10. Alright, and you might see it drawn like this. You also might see it drawn at the top like this. So, 1, boom, 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 boom. So these are what you said. And again, you can think of either needle, or that might actually be pin cushion or something. I don't know. You can think of something to help you distinguish whether it's at the top of something or at the side of something for needle. And you can also use number 10 if you want to. You're not beholden to use these primitives, just only the primitive meanings. You can use the original meaning as well. Alright, so that's 10. What's next? Mouth. Alright, so this is the circle of a mouth that's been squared up in kanji land. Okay, cool. When you see another kanji, think Jaws or Cookie Monster. Fair enough. Okay, so let's go to, let's see what we got. There's the stroke order, you'll see it. And there you see it in other mouths. Jaws, Cookie Monster. Alright. I need to stop just worrying about that part. Maybe I'll just read ahead of time. Let me press Control Delete. Alright, so here we go. Now, we've gone through, now, from here on out, you're not going to see anything in any other kanji that hasn't been introduced. Unfortunately, for these numbers, 1 through 10, he introduced primitives, or smaller portions of kanji that he hasn't taught you what they meant yet, so I taught you what they meant. That probably made these lessons take a lot longer than what it should have, so that's the reason why we're at the 20-minute mark. And we've only covered 10 kanji. In the future, they should go a lot faster. Okay, so in this case, we're going to be covering as mouth. Now, we already kind of taught this, so here we go again. So it's downward stroke, down across, down, cross, completed. You might hear this as mouth, but also if it's outside of something. If it's something is inside, that's going to be a different kanji called pinten. Do not worry about that. Okay? What we are only concerned with is if it's outside. So anyway, that's mouth. If it's like at the side here and something, or it's at the top and something, something, something. All right, same idea. But again, the primitive is still written the same way. You might have it where you write it and then draw something inside like the number 4. That's fine. You can still think of it as mouth, or you can think of it as pinten, whichever way you wish. It does work either way. Alright, so that's mouth. Cookie Monster, or Jaws. Next up. day. So this is mouth and one. If you, so it's really drawing mouth, but in the middle of that, you're going to use the kanji for one. All right. When you see this in other kanji, think of sun, like a sun with sunglasses. So I just think of the little cartoon picture of a sun wearing sunglasses, like the one from Raisin Bran. 2 scoops. Okay. What do we got? Okay. So let's do here. So this is day. So let's do the whole kanji first, then the stroke order, and later on, oh, okay, it helps if I skip. Alrighty, so draw the 1, 2, 3, and connect it. It's a different kanji if you don't connect that entirely. Not that people probably know what you mean though. All right, and that's the kanji for day. You also use it like in sun, nichiobi, day or sun. You might see it off to the side here. You might see it off. I don't think yeah, you might see it at the top like this. Boom, 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 boom. On the side, boom, 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 boom. Again, think of sun. Sun rising, doing something. Sun. All right, what's next? Moon. Think of the crescent moon with 2 lines. So this is month, but think of the crescent moon with 2 lines representing. I'll draw that as well. This is used almost connectively with both moon and month. Moon and month. Same as sun and day, moon and month. They're used interchangeably so often it's like it's the same thing. But yeah, moon and month. And then when you see it in other kanji, and I'll explain why, you want to think of this as being either moon if it's not body-based. But if it's something body-based, think of it as being flesh or a turkey drumstick. You might use turkey drumstick for anything. But all right, so here we go. So here we go. So first thing is it's kind of curved like this, kind of like the peg leg. Then 2 lines underneath. All right, so kind of like sort of the peg leg, sort of kind of like a bound, and sort of. Actually, that's curved a little bit sometimes. Alright, and that's finished. Now you might also see it in other kanji like this, completely flat. When it's completely flat like this, just think of month. If it's kind of curved like this, I think, and I could be wrong here, I think you want to think more of it as flesh of the body, because you know, something like, I don't know, something like that. Who knows? Anyway, there's something here on the side. Now the reasons for it is that there was this kanji for meat, which then became dry, which soon eventually became this. So that became that. Also, what you'll see, try and make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this depends on how you want to do it. So you want to think of it as month. That could help you, whether it needs to be if it's a moon itself, make it a straight line. If it's more fleshy part of the body, make it a curved line. Or turkey drumstick. So if it's turkey drumstick, it's more curved, depending on how you want to work with it. That could be a way to distinguish if you want to be really perfectionist about the way you write your kanji. All right, cool. So that's moon or month. In fact, let's real quick. Let's see what if Hazik says anything on that. There's Mao. There's day. Saith. Don't worry about that. Yeah, you see right there, he kind of curves it and hooks it a bit. Man in the moon. Yeah, moon, flesh, part of the body. He doesn't mention too much about it. Okay. Alright, so that's moon. Alright, rice field. And this is one where... Alright, looks like a rice or a farm field viewed from, like you're flying over in an airplane, you look down, it looks like a segmented off field of rice paddies. And the third stroke is going to be down, not across, as opposed to how some people probably think about writing it. Now, when you see it in other kanji, you could think field, a farm field, or you can also use a picture of a brain, because think of, I know there's 2 hemispheres, but think of 4 lobes of the brain if you want to, or think of brain as in Pinky and the Brain, the little mouse, little white mouse with the big head who wants to take over the world and fails all the time. All right, so we got brain, Pinky, yeah. All right. So that's brain. Let's, but normally it's rice field, ta. Okay, so here we go. So Here we are. Let's write it out for you real quick. You notice I went down first, then across. Okay? So let's do the stroke order real quick. Now again, this third stroke is down. Then you finish it off. Down. So it's down, cross, cross. Good. Alright, and it depends on how you want to see it. Like I think for here, I always thought of, there was one that was out, like I remember you in this kanji here, which I usually think of that as like a monster. There's the monster's mouth, and there's the monster's with its brain exposed with little horns on it, or something movie monster thing. But you know, again, depends on how you do it. Or you can use pinky in the brain. Whatever. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. Do I see it in? Yeah, you'll see it in all sorts of places around. You know, bam, 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 or whatnot. All right. So that's one more kanji in this lesson, and I will go on a break. I'll go on a quick break and then come back. I just want to go pour myself some coffee. Okay, so let me get rid of this. What's the last one? Rice field. Alright, so this last one is I. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to show you as well. I'll tell you what, before I get to I real quick. One last thing. What was happening with moon? Imagine moon right here, and also you have is sun. Sun. So what was happening is this, and this think of little clouds going past the moon. This probably eventually became that. And then this, what happened is the circular, everything circular kind of got squared off. So that's why that became, that goes into that little line here, the little dot in the center instead lined out. Okay. That might be what happened. Again, I'm not worried about the history of kanji so much as how it's used currently. And that's really what we're going to, but sometimes it is fun to learn the history if it's available, and it's, if I know it, and if it can, and if it's for fun. Alright, it's not a necessity, just a nicety. So here we have is I, and that's going to lead into why I drew the little pictures there. So it looks like an I that's been squared up on kanji and turned on its side. So if you see it in other kanji, think eyeball or cyclops. And if it's at the top of it right there, it'll be, think eye of sorrow. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so here we are. So what we're going to do is going to do I. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do the stroke order. 1. So it's almost like the stroke order for moon or sun. Sun right now. So you do 1, 2, and then finish it off. 3. 1, 2, 3. And the way they're trying to say is like, okay, so it sort of looks like, imagine you had this, right? All of a sudden, the little circles got straightened out right there, and then this thing got kind of, outside thing kind of got squared off. So, you know, again, you can kind of imagine. And again, it looks like there's the eye on its side. So, or maybe it looked like you have this, this, and this. And that became this. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Now, the way you're going to see this in other kanji, as they're saying, it might be, you might see it at the top, right here, with stuff underneath, or you might see it like here on its side, with things. And when it's like this, just think of Eye of Sauron. The Eye of, imagine the Eye of Sauron doing something, watching over the little minions or whatnot. Okay, good. All right, so that's the first 15 kanji of lesson 1. Alright, what's probably going to happen, because this is the first time I've been trying this, it's, as I find a better way of going through this, it's not wasting time. Like, again, I'm already deciding, okay, I probably won't be rushing to Hazig's thing too often. For one, again, I'm not going to read his book out to you. I do that for a dictionary, basic Japanese grammar. I'm not going to do it for his book, because it's not really that important. It's about getting a story across to you, and I think I've got the stories that are better than what, in a lot of cases, okay, not in a lot of cases, in a number of cases where Hazig has it, and this might just be confusing anyway. Same with stroke order, I might refer to this, but again, that's not too important. Yeah, I could. Alright, so anyway, so that is, again, lesson 1. So we are finished there. Let's pause and exit. All right, so I went from 23 minutes, so I apologize. So I went from 23 minutes to 60-minute mark. So that's like, so that's 37, almost 40 minutes of lessons on just lesson one. But I get the feeling, though, again, it took a little longer than what it should be. I could see it's going to get down to about 15, 20 minutes. I'll probably stop rambling as much about kanji, just kind of introduce, get the story, write it out for you, and then go to it. I don't have to explain as much to it once I get past primitives and whatnot. The only thing I need to maybe give a bit more description on when there are primitives, because again, that's more visual imagery. So I want to make sure you kind of get that image in your head and how these images are working with each other, so you can quickly recall it. Okay. And again, and guess what I'll try to also do is to stress out. It's like, hey, you know what? Write out these kanji a lot. When you say it, write out about 3 or 4 times and whatnot while you're watching this. And yeah, I get the feeling, though, if you watch this instead of getting a book, you should be able to get these down to it. And then, of course, when you're done, you go to this lesson and, hey, you know, try it out. See, hey, how well did you learn it? Boom, 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 and go from there. So this is only recognition. You don't have to write anything out. Yeah. So the only time you really have to write out kanji is probably at the very first time in which you're learning it, and then maybe later on in reviews if you want to. You don't do it physically on the test doesn't require you to do it, but you can do that on your own. You know, people have filled up notebooks full of kanji, just them writing it. All right, so that's wow. Okay, cool. That was lesson 1. I had not done this in, I want to say, 6 years. And I remember doing it and having fun doing it. There was even a base newspaper article on me doing this for the people on the base. It was fun, and I had always thought about doing this. Like for the last 6 years, I always thought about, hey, you know, setting up the computer, doing it like I did remembering the kana, remembering the katakana, remembering the hiragana. But now I'm thinking of, okay, this works better. It's just me as if I were learning the material brand new, which is the way you're going to be learning the material in this course that I set up on Memorize. And okay, since assuming it takes about 15-20 minutes per lesson, this is still going to be about it's going to be a number of hours to complete the entire course. But by the time that's done, hey, you know what? It's there for anybody, and that 6, 8, or 10 hours of effort on my part translates to thousands, tens of thousands of hours on students' part of where it aids them in learning, and that's well worth it. So yeah, let me go on a quick break. I'm not going to play anything like I normally do because this isn't. But yeah, I'll just talk in the background. All I'm doing is getting some coffee right now. So hopefully, Memorize fixes their problem with the review, because this is not meant to be. This is meant to be on a project on my free time, sometime in the evening. What I want to be doing is learning Japanese, getting through them through the course, making edits, corrections, proofreading, improving, taking advice, whatever. Lots and lots and lots and lots of things. But at least this feels productive. It's not helping me learn Japanese better, but it's helping other people learn Japanese better. And that, in turn, is a great thing. Because kanji should not be the thing that keeps you from learning Japanese. There are many things complicated about Japanese. Not complicated. Japanese takes time, but kanji is structured, and it can be learned fast. It's just that there's hundreds, if not thousands of them. That's why it takes a long time. So it's a simple process, but a lengthy process. As always, if you are watching in the stream, you got questions or comments, or you want to make a suggestion, please, by all means, type it in the chat, and I'll try to respond to that and adapt accordingly. All right, so let me write this down. So this is for lesson number 2. This is on the 8th of November. For me, I know it's tomorrow for you guys. All right, so let's see. Got Hawaii 5-0 playing in the background. It's the Japanese dub. It's on TV. If you're kind of wondering what's slight noise. And also I got the window open so we hear the traffic down on the streets sometimes, especially if it's like a siren or something, or a loud motorcycle. Okay, so that's lesson 1. Let's go next. Alright, lesson 4. So let's, alright, so let me start with the introduction. Hi, this is Nuke Marine. This is the suggested guide for Japanese literacy. And, 1 hour, 5 minutes. This is the suggested guide for Japanese literacy, part 3. And this is the Remembering the Kanji Optimized. Lesson, part 1, lesson 2. Kanji we'll be covering today in this lesson. Okay. So we'll be covering starting from Heisig's number 16 and generation, for example, employee, morning, all the way to Heisig's number 56. But only 15 of these kanji, because again, so we're skipping over a few of them. So out of the 40, we're learning. So that's out of these 40 kanji, we're only learning 15. We're skipping over 25 of them, which that's pretty good. All right, so these are the these are the 15 we'll be learning in this next 20 to 30 minutes, if all goes well. Might take a little longer because a few primitives. Here are the primitives for this lesson. Since there are a number of primitives here, that usually makes the lesson take a little bit longer. But again, we'll be covering that as we approach it in the kanji. Okay, and yeah. All right, let's Control-Delete that. All right, so let's begin. Option Preview. Alright, so this is 37, so we have to go forward a bit. Come on. Okay. There we go. Alright, so these are the ones we want to learn. Alright, so what this set of kanji are going to do, well, okay, it's going to go beyond that. So again, the idea here is that we're going to be building kanji based on stuff we've already learned. We're going to learn something else a little new, and then using that plus all the other old stuff we've learned, build new kanji out of the subset of 555 kanji that we're trying to learn as a whole. Okay, so this is old. So this is 10 and mouth, as you see right there. Heisig's keyword old. In this case, this looks like an old tombstone. Yeah. So this says visualize a tombstone in a graveyard. Tombstone in a graveyard. Let's see what Heisig has to say real quick. Yeah, right there. Old. Yeah. Not going to sweat too much on that. Alright, so let's begin. Alright, so on the top half, do the 10. And on the bottom half, do the mouth. Alright, here's the stroke order real quick. And soon what I'm going to do is for stroke order is instead of doing it individually, I'm going to do it individual strokes. I'll do it in individual primitives. That'll be happening later. And you're going to see this in other kanji. So again, just think of tombstone. If you want to, maybe a small pyramid. I don't know. It's like a Tomb Raider type thing. Could help. It doesn't matter. Something old that tomb or something. Tombstone, whatever. Old. Next. So this is old. This is a thing of 10. Yeah, it actually just looks like a tombstone. Okay, bright. Sun and moon together. Okay, so bright times. The sun is bright at night and the moon is bright in the evening. I think sun is bright in the day, the moon is bright at night. Sun is bright in the day, moon is bright at night. Okay, think of it like that. Brightness. Here we go. Alright, so we do, on the left side we do sun, and on the right side we do month. Alright. Yeah, okay, we'll do it as a stroke order. This I might have to stop doing soon. I may just stop doing this part. This is going to be taking way too long, and it's not really going to get too much out of it. All right. Okay, well, gee, let me just make that decision right here and now. All right, so if it's a mixture of primitives, unless I'm introducing a new primitive or a new kanji, I won't be doing these stroke words anymore. That's just taking too long. All right, so that's bright. The sun and the moon, bright at night. Cool. Alrighty. Let me make sure about that. Let's see. Skipped over something. There we are. Yeah, I wouldn't sweat too much on this. Sun and moon are bright at night. I'm not sure that comes up in other kanji though. So, okay, let's just carry on. What the heck? Alright. Right. Next up. Goods. If you go to Shinagawa, you'll know this is, okay, good. So this is basically 3 mouths, and real simple, 3 mouths can eat up a lot of goods. So I think goods and supplies. Alright, this is also what I'll be doing. And I should make sure to do this as well for the other kanji I teach. What I've done is, these kanjis have more than one meaning. So when you see it in other kanji, this is what we'll do. Like number 1 means one thing, or one person, whatever. It's just a counter in itself. So most of the numbers are for counters. Like the sun, sun referenced also for day, or a span of 1 day. Moon can also be a reference to month, like we'd saying. Now for here, goods. So in this case, it's goods, refinement, dignity, articles, counter for meal course. It's going to be all sorts of things. All right, goods, refinement, dignity, and I'll try to stress that as well. Not just what this keyword is, but also what it means when various meanings it takes on when it's used in various Japanese words. All right, this doesn't mean it means all these things at once. It means these based on the type of words that it's used in. Think of it like a flavor, not necessarily a constant. All right, so that's good. So let's go to the, let's write it up. It's okay. Come here. So do the mouth on the top part. All right, we'll actually do the whole thing real quick. Then I'll do it. All right, so that's the entire kanji. So we'll do the mouth on the top part, mouth on, and okay, so top middle, bottom left, bottom right. All right, and that's good. You'll see that in like Hin or Shina and Shinagawa. I think if you go to Japan, you take train lines, you're going to learn this kanji just because of Shinagawa. That's a major train station. Okay, let's go next. All right, so that's goods. Okay, next up is early. Early. Now this kanji also has some other meanings. Or fast. Early or fast. These right here are actually just the these are the primitives that are used inside it. So early or fast, hayai or whatnot. So it's the sun, and below that is needle or 10. So to get up early, you decide you need light. To get up early, you decide you need light to get up early. So you prod the sun with the needle to get it up early as well. All right, so there we go. So imagine you're just like poking the sun in the ass with a needle. There you go. All right, let's bring this up. Early. So top half we got sun. And again, we got 5 people watching, so if you've got commentary to make, please feel free to make it, type it into the chat. If I'm explaining something in a weird way or there's a mistake in my... So yeah, draw sun first in the top half, then draw sun, and 10 or needle. Yeah, so you're poking the sun in the ass with a needle. When you see this in other kanji, yeah, you're going to see this in other kanji. It might be on the side with... you might see it like here on the side. I don't think, actually, no, I take that back. I don't see it on the side. Sometimes I saw it like this. Here, in fact, quickly you're going to see it like that, and then stuff here on the side. Just think of probably sunflower would be a good thing. Yeah. So fast, think of sunflower. So maybe Hermes or the Flash got the sunflower windmill. So when the wind is blowing, it spins fast. Who knows? Whatever you want. So sunflower. Man, whew, do not try to draw with a mouse. That is horrible. Good gods. Okay, early, fast. Next, generation. So you're going to see in this kanji, when you see this kanji in various Japanese words, it may take on the flavor of generation or the world, like in sekai, society, public. Okay, generation. So in this case, we're going to think of as 10, 10, 10, or 10 and 20. However you want to look at hook. A generation like 10s and 3s. Let me look at the stroke order real quick. Right here. So here's generation. So you see it's the draw the 1, 2, 3, 4. That right there, believe it or not, you've written a kanji for 20. You're not going to learn that kanji early on, but you have written it. And then the last line is like we kind of call as a hook. But also it's like the last 10, the last one is the hook, and that's the hook that binds the entire generation. So let's draw that out. And let's say a generation is like 3 tens of years. Alright, so pretty much what you're going to be doing. Let's delete this real quick. 3 tens of years. So, like I said, we're going to be drawing that. 1, 2, underneath, and finish it off. Boom. We are done. Alright, so let's draw that out. We're going to draw the 1. Middle one. Right there. Alright, now you notice what I did here. And this was in the stroke order. I want to make sure I'm not like, see how that's a separate stroke. It's not, so it's not an L line. It's actually, it's its own thing. And, hi, all I want to say, I never noticed, help me remember this. Help me remember this facepalm. Oh, okay. Yeah, and memorize. I apologize. I think this is what he was talking about. So on memorize here, when you're doing the preview, there is something you click on, help me remember this. It brings up these, what are called mnemonics, or memnotes or whatnot, that users can provide for stories or explanations. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of one of the things I really liked about memorize, especially when we get into Japanese drama immersion, because that's going to be going over Japanese sentences from Japanese dramas, from the subtitles, and it might be on a scene, and that way you can explain in that mem note, why this is something important in Japanese based on like Japanese society or in that particular situation. That not necessarily is noting to know what the sentence means, but it can help explain the situation as a whole. But okay, anyway, that's for later. That's for a different course. Okay, so there we go. Let's keep going. Sorry. What else did we do? All right, and then this is the last stroke. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this right here, reason why, I'll just mention it real quick. So that's kind of like the kanji for 20, but you don't need to know that. That's the reason why you might see 20 there. Don't sweat it. It just... Yeah, ignore that. But okay, but anyway, so 3 tens. So you kind of see it's like you got the first 10, the second 10 connected, and then you got the last 10 connected. So 3 tens. That's a generation. Okay, generation. Next up. Okay. Now we're gonna actually, let me show you a primitive first. So this is a primitive for, I'll show you 2 primitives real quick. Okay. So first thing we're gonna learn is the primitive for, it's just written at the top of something, and then we usually call that like the, think of a drop, or in this case an eyedrop. So imagine an eyedropper dropping something onto a part of a kanji. So it's eyedropper. Then what you have here is walking stick, or a stick, not walking stick, but a stick. It can be any type of stick. This could be the stick of a fighting stick for a monk's fighting stick or whatever. Try not to avoid Gandalf, because I'm going to use Gandalf in a different kanji later on, but you could. Here's some, let me go to the primitive sheets. So that's right there, walking stick. You might see stuff on the sides. Here's drop off. It's usually at the top of something, and then you have some other kanji in it. Eye drop, walking stick. Okay. Good. Okay. So now, the next kanji we're going to learn is oneself. And what you see is eye drop and the kanji for eye. Now look here, oneself. Or by oneself. Now, it doesn't mean yourself. It can also be referred to another person, himself, herself, themselves, ourselves, whatnot. You're going to see it in, or self. You'll notice it when you get into vocabulary. All right. So drop, that's the drop, and I. To refer to oneself, you point the finger to your, like, you'll notice in this kind of make it saying something in Japan. You notice people in Japan, they'll point between their eyes and drop it down to the nose when they refer to oneself. So it's like drop between the eyes, point to the nose, oneself. And the reason why we're saying nose here is when you see this kanji in other kanji, you're going to imagine Pinocchio, like and his nose growing, whatnot. Okay. Now this is not the kanji for nose. That's a different kanji, but it's kind of related to it. And it's an easier visual than oneself. You can't visualize oneself, but you can easily visualize nose. So you can think of like maybe the nose of an elephant. Well, maybe not elephant. Maybe Snuffleupagus or something could do it, or Pinocchio. In fact, what did I say? Yeah, nose or Pinocchio. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's write this. Okay, so we'll be down here. So we are going to do eye drop, eye, or drop an eye. So boom. Oh, let me go back one. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. All right, drop an eye, and that again is Pinocchio. Eye, or oneself. Drop eye. Drop between the eye, point to nose, to point to oneself. Drop between the eye, point to oneself. Okay, next kanji. All right, so let's see. No, we're still going. We're not done yet. Come here. All right, options, preview. All right. Now we have is white. And again, this is mainly just referring to white, which is drop and sun. Now this is actually pretty easy. Just think of a prism of. You learn white is like a drop of sunlight that can then become all colors. So yeah, a drop of sunlight is white of all colors. It turns out white light is like a drop of sun that is actually all colors. Okay, when you picture it in other kanji, think of white dove. Yeah, the white dove apiece. There you go, white dove apiece that got obliterated in Mars attacks. All right, so let's delete this. Let's go. So, okay, so what are we doing? We're doing that and. Yeah, if you're not sure, here's the. Let me go and bring this up, the stroke order, real quick. And you can kind of see that these angles off a little bit to the side. Okay, let's bring this up. Alrighty, so yeah, so we do the drop, and the white. Drop of sunlight. Drop. White. Alright, and again, if you see it in another kanji, think either white, or you can also think of white dove. Next. 100. Okay, ceiling, white dove. So here's the ceiling, there's white dove. And yeah, it just pretty much only means 100. You might see it in reference to, for some reason, like store, yakuten, I don't know why. Maybe for the pronunciation of it only. Alright, so this is 100. Now when you think of a 100-year celebration at church, you see hundreds of white doves flying out through the ceiling fan and in the ceiling, which is great. So yeah, white doves flying out to the ceiling of the church for the 100-year celebration of that town or of that person's birthday or whatnot. I think Heisig used the term white year, which is the 99th year, which is a drop below the day below. I don't know. But anyway, ceiling, white dove. Let's do the kanji. 100. So this is 100. Good kanji to learn. So do the ceiling. Well, it should be a little higher than that, but yeah. 1, 2. Okay, so yeah, so we're going to do the ceiling. Doom. Ceiling, doom. Yeah. Cool. Or in this case, you could also do ceiling in white. Or ceiling, drop, day. Whatever you want to do. And that's 100. 100. Alright, next. Actually, here, I'll tell you what. So what have we learned so far? So we know we have 1. We've got 10. And we've got 100. Alright, cool. And I think we'll be learning 1,000 in this as well. Okay. Where are we at? Here we are. Alright, so that's 100. Alright, so now we have in. So this is in. This also can mean inside, in the middle of something, the mean or the average of something, or the center of something. In. So here we have jaws and stick. So you want to click in the mouth of jaw. If you want to climb in, it's supposed to be climb in, not click in. You want to climb in the mouth of jaws. Best to keep it pried open with the stick. So yeah, so there's jaws mouth, and you're shoving a stick right up inside. Now here's the stroke order, just to be sure. Okay, so you're going to draw the mouth completely, then the stick. So draw the mouth completely, then do the stick. Here we go. Alright, so we'll sit right here, so just try to draw it right here, roughly here, and then the stick. So yeah, so mouth, stick. Alright, that's inside, naka, whatever. Alright, inside. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think you do see this in another kanji. I'm just not recalling right off the bat, but it's alright. Alright, good. Inside. Ah, here we are, 1,000. Okay, good. So this is a drop and then 10. So think of 1,000 as 3 drops of 10. So imagine you got your little eyedropper dropping a 0. So it's got the little stick, but it's got dropping a 0, dropping a 0, and dropping a 0. So it's dropping 3 zeros. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so that's 1,000. So dropping 10s, 3 drops of 10s, 3 drops of 10s. Dropping 10s 3 times. Sure, that works. Alright, so here's 1,000. So in this case, the drop is like that. Do the 1. Notice the direction I took? Notice the direction? Okay, so it follows the same as the drop itself. But yeah, so we go the drop. Boom, do the drop and the 10. 1,000. So there we are. Oh, okay, so we got 1, 10, 100, 1,000. Sorry. Cool. What's next? Drops of 10s. Alright. Okay, cool. Specialty. Now this looks complicated. Look at what you're doing. First thing, though, we have to introduce is a primitive called glue gun. So let me look at that real quick. Okay, where are my primitives at? Alright, there we go. So this is on page 30 of Hazig's book. What it looks like is 10 with a little drop inside. It's going to be referring to glue gun. So let me introduce that real quick. Let me delete this. Alright, so this is what we're going... Now, this is a kanji in itself. I'm just not worried about teaching it. So that's what we're teaching. So you're going to do 1 across. Then you're going to come down like the stick, but give a little hook. Alright, and come down, stick, and then put a drop inside of that. Alright, now that's... it's not Momoru, because I think it's like Momoru or something, but like protection. But in this case, though, think of... Well, no, because then you have a person beside that being okay. Don't worry about that because that's underneath the house. But anyway, when you see this, just think of glue gun, like somebody's holding a glue gun or something. Some people also use the term cellophane tape or something to stick something together. That's fine as well. But glue gun makes for a good visual. Glue gun. All right, with that primitive, let's see what we're doing. So here we have is okay, and we have another primitive, hand grenade. So let me show you hand grenade as well. Okay, so this is not a kanji at all. This is not a kanji at all. Alright, but I do refer to it as the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch. Alright, so you're doing the 1. Do this. Oh, let me exit that. Do the 1. Do the sun. Alright, so 1 priest prays to the sun. And then, to make the hand grenade, and then what you want to do is stick a pin in that hand grenade. Boom. Okay, yeah, that's a very ugly looking hand grenade. But okay, so yeah, that's the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch. Whatever. Okay, but anyway, you don't see this in too many kanji, but it does appear now and again. And you see the stroke order is a little different. So it's 1 sun and stick. So it's not 10 in sun, or it's not 10 in field. So it's that's the stroke order. Let me make sure I'm not lying to you. Let's see, it's this right here. Here's the stroke orders real quick. Yeah, so you see 1, there's the sun, then the final stroke is the stick, then it's doing the stroke for glue gun. Okay. So now we've got those two primitives. We've got Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch and Specialty. So Hand Grenade, Glue Gun. Monty Python, Holy Grail. This pre-specialty was creating the Holy Hand Grenade by glue gunning across to a pineapple. There you go. Okay. Okay, specialty. Now this could also mean exclusive, mainly, solely. So like you could say it's your specialty in college or your specialty in your profession. Mainly, solely, specialty, exclusive to your field. Okay, let's draw this. Specialty. Okay, so we have here one, sun, done, and then, alright, so that's how we do it. So let's do the sun individually. One in sun, one sun stick, one sun stick, and glue gun. Boom. Alright, and that's specialty. And it doesn't look that ugly. My handwriting is not this it is bad, but it's not this bad. I'm just, again, doing a... maybe if I put my writing pad... I tell you what, let me adjust my writing pad. Maybe if I put my writing pad right here in front of me, maybe I'll write better. Maybe I'll write better. I don't know. Let's see. Nope. Still not doing that because now I'm writing at an angle. Maybe if I did it like this. Yeah, I guess it's better. Okay, so I'll put my handwriting pad at an angle. Oh, gods. Okay, anyway. So yeah, that's specialty. Hand grenade, glue gun. Specialty. Specialty. Next up. Okay, above. So here we're going to have is what I call Harry Potter and floor. And Harry Potter sort of looks like the katakana for toe, and then floor or carpet. So in this case, it's going to be Harry Potter's wand levitating an object above a floor. Leviosa way. I don't know. Above. Now, this could also mean above. It also means up. Going up in the direction, or climbing up, or walking up, or carrying up, whatever. Going up, above. Okay. Let's. All right. So let's show you the primitive real quick. So here's the. All right. You might also see it sometimes as like that right there, and you'll also see it written like this. So it's pretty much this walking stick and that. But also you might see walking stick and that. All right, depending on the kanji used. In this case, for up. And again, I usually when I see this, when you see this in other kanji, I want you to think of Harry Potter. Okay, Harry Potter. There's not too many kanji to use it, but it does appear. All right, so here's up. Okay, so we did the stroke order. There's Harry Potter. There's Harry Potter for up. All right. There we go. Up. Above. Floor. Harry Potter levitating object above the floor. Now we have his below. All right, now we have his ceiling or ceiling fan in Harry Potter again. So below the ceiling ceiling fan, you see Harry Potter hanging down to hide from Snape. Okay, there we go. Using his wand or whatnot to float below the ceiling. I don't know, to hide from Snape. There you go. Yeah, so below. So this can mean now right here, below, down, descend. Now here's where it gets a little weird. Also, it can be used means to give to an inferior. I think also above or up also means to give, like ageru, mote ageru, like you're giving it to somebody. To be up. In this case, below means to give, lower, inferior. You'll learn that you'll notice that when it starts appearing in some of the vocabulary. All right, so that's below. Let's get the kanji in here. Okay, right here. Now you notice the stroke order was slightly different. What I mentioned. So in this case, this part goes down. So here we go. So do this. There's the ceiling. There's Harry Potter below the ceiling. And that's below. So up, down, or above, below. Alrighty. Yeah, let's see what else. Is that the last one? Oh, good. Okay, this is a good kanji. So here you have is 10 sunflowers and moon. Alright, so in this case we're we do have another. Let me just teach that to you. There's two ways of approaching this kanji. Control delete. Okay, so first thing I want to do is teach you another primitive. So this is this right here. You notice that's 10, sun, 10, or 10 and early. So maybe 10 sunflowers bloom. You see that you're walking toward and this is mist. So yeah, so you're walking through the mist and you come upon a field of 10 sunflowers. 10 sun 10. Yeah, so you're walking through the mist and you come upon a field of 10 sun. So this is mist. You can also say 10 sunflowers or whatnot. Alright, now we're going to do is this kanji. So we have mist and moon. Okay, now some other things this kanji means. So it's morning. You might hear it in reference to a dynasty, in reference to a regime, an epoch, a period. It's also used in the name for North Korea. Alright, but main thing you're going to worry about is, you're going to hear it mainly as in morning. Asagohan or Ohio, or not Ohio, that's actually speed. But anyway, so we have mist and moon. In the morning, you see the mist roll out as the moon fades out, leaving the mist of droplets on the grass. Alright, so mist of the moon. In the morning, you see the mist of the moon laid out everywhere. Okay. Alright, so here we go. So let's say, here's what we're actually writing. So let's see here, moon, and okay. So say we get 10 sunflowers, 10. So again, in the morning, 10 sunflowers bloom from the light of the moon. Sure, in the morning, 10 sunflowers bloom in the light of the moon. Sure, if you want to go that way too. Alright. 10 sunflowers bloom. Morning. In the morning, 10 sunflowers bloom, mist of the moon. In the morning. Well, I think that's... Oh, good. Alright, so you're going to teach some other kana. Alright, so we have mouth, eye, and then these things, which we learned from 6 means animal legs, but I'm going to reteach that real quick. Okay, so what we have here are, usually you're going to see it like here. It's, let me see what Hazek says, because I think he mentioned horns as well. Alright, so, let's see, primitives. Alright, so we want to do here, animal legs, page 34. Okay, right here. Yeah, so little animal legs. And the mentioning thing about horns. No, he doesn't. Okay. So it looks like the stroke order for 8. But yeah, it looks like the stroke order for 8. So yeah, if you had 8, make them smaller, now they become little animal legs. Alright, and just think of like either legs of a spider or legs of a small animal, whatever. Just think of really small animal legs, really cute little looking animal legs. Okay? Now, what are we trying to learn here? And we're also going to have one other primitive, and that's weird. We should have, did I miss something? Yeah, shellfish. Why am I missing something? Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, it's used in, never mind. Okay, I think I know what's happening here. I'm getting, okay, ignore what I just said. Ignore me real quick. But anyway, so, alright, we're also going to have to teach one other thing. So there we have is animal legs. What we also want to do is teach what's called shellfish. This right here. Alright, so this is a legit kanji. It means shellfish. But you're going to see this in other kanji. Now, instead of, you could think of it like clams, like a seashell or something. That's fine. What I usually used to do, I used to think of as SpongeBob SquarePants. So really simple. Just draw the eye right here. I want you to draw little animal legs below it. Alright, so that, yeah, so the reason why I'm using SpongeBob is because he works for Mr. Krabs, and Mr. Krabs really likes money. So again, this is also in reference to money, like dollar bill. But instead, I don't know. So anything referencing money or something, I'm gonna think of SpongeBob in the kitchen with his spatula and his silly little hat, doing something. But anyway, it's in reference to money, or maybe also clamshells. So if you know the Flintstones, they paid in clams, like literal clams was a currency. Or, you know, again, you even hear clams in reference to actual money. So when you see this in other kanji, it might be in reference to buying stuff or in purchasing. Alright, so those are the primitives. Anyway, so now we have mouth and clams, or mouth, and what I'm thinking of is SpongeBob. The employee with the loudest mouth is obviously SpongeBob. So this is employee, an employee, or a member of someone, or a number of the one in charge. But mainly you're going to think of it as being an employee, All right, let's write this. So here we have is, the way Hazig said was a story like employees with their mouths were clapped shut with seashells, or something like that. I don't know. You know, keep them from talking and only working. All right. So first thing you want to do is draw the mouth. So that's SpongeBob or something. All right. You want to do the eye, which yeah, sure. I don't know. And then the little legs. So there's SpongeBob. It kind of even looks like a square pants. SpongeBob square pants. And his little legs. So yeah, mouth, eye, little legs, or mouth and SpongeBob. Employee. What's next? Alright, we're done. Cool. Okay, so that lesson went from, right now we're at 1 hour and 41 minutes. We started at 1 hour and 5 minutes. So we were down to 35 minutes, so that's good. Hopefully we can get this down to about 30 minutes or so. Again, the more Kana, the more primitives I have to introduce, and the more complicated this gets. So I think what I'll do is, again, get a little bit more water. I'll do one more lesson. So I'll do up to lesson 3, and call that a day. And I'll try to do this tomorrow if there's time. But anyway, this is kind of fun and whatnot. If you got any comments, again, make comments and in the chat, and I'll try to reply to. If you've got any suggestions, definitely make suggestions. If you're getting this later, again, in the comments of the YouTube video, make suggestions or comments, compliments, whatever, hatred, death threats. Well, okay, not death threats. That'll get your account suspended. But yeah, just whatever, and I'll try to improve it. I'm not going to go back and redo these videos. Okay, I'm sorry, it just is not going to happen. I'm not paid to do this. This is all free. Well, okay, I'm donating the time and whatnot. So let me go get some water, and take about 2 or 3 minutes. Be right back. So for most of you who are doing this, you've already done the lesson. Obviously, this is old stuff. There's nothing new here for you. This is still early, so this stuff might not make sense. Maybe some more water. There we go. And, ooh, all right. Okay, so we got that, so we can pause that and leave. Save and exit, sure. Okay. Okay, so 4 people are watching in the stream. I'm tempted to go and, I tell you what, I'm kind of tempted to look, but I don't like the idea of. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of hesitant on bringing up Reddit because, again, I can't control over sometimes of what pops up on the screen, and whatnot, especially on the main page. So I'd rather not do that at all. But it's okay anyway. I don't think I can pause this. I don't see anything I can mute the stream. There probably is a way I can mute the stream. Visually mute the stream, but I'm not going to do that either. Okay, so again, there are 4 people watching. I'm seeing 4 or 5 people pop in and out, which is fine. Yeah. So this is going to be starting on lesson 3. So right now, let's see, we'll do number 3. It is November 8th. This is at 1 hour 40, we'll say 44 minutes. We're at the 1 hour 44 minute mark. Alright, so hello, this is Nuke Marine. I am presenting the suggested guide for Japanese literacy part 3, or course number 3. This is remembering the kanji optimized, which are the 555 kanji from Kanji.Odyssey 2001.Kanji.Odyssey book series. This is lesson 3. In this case, well, no, let me go actually bring up, so this is lesson 3. These are let me present you the vocabulary we'll be learning. So, I'm sorry, not vocabulary, I'm sorry, this is the kanji we'll be learning in the next 30-40 minutes. And let us begin. We've so far up to this point, you've learned 30 kanji. Let's add another 15 under your belt. Alright, so let's go to preview. Visually, so Jay say visually mute the screen. That's a new one. Yeah, make the screen blank. Yeah. Let's see. What are we at? 57. Is that the first one? Let me make sure. That's the first kanji. Supposed to. Yeah. Okay. So that's all good to go. All right. C. All right. So we're gonna have to go and learn a. Let's learn a primitive real quick. Now I've already taught you this primitive for the kanji for 4, but we're gonna do it again. So what we're doing here is a primitive for peg leg and clubfoot. Now, what Hazig does, I'll show it to you real quick. He presents to it like this right here, human legs, and which is fine. So which is different than animal legs. Which I thought peg leg and clubfoot made for a better thing, because you'll see these in various parts in other kanji as well. So, so let's present that real quick. Peg leg and clubfoot. So peg leg is this right here, which is normally it's on the left side, and then we have the peg leg and the clubfoot. And the clubfoot itself you'll see on its own. The peg leg you'll see on its own in other kanji and whatnot. And you already saw it used in the kanji for 4, and you can also see it partially in the kanji for 9, but we'll be learning it in the kanji for C. Okay, so let's look at, so here we have is eyeball, or human eye, and this we have the human legs, or peg leg and clubfoot. And this is the kanji for C. Alright, so that's easy. So the eye goes walking around. That's traditionally what it is. The eye goes walking around when it sees stuff. And when it's used in other kanji and when other vocabulary words, it usually is a reference to see, but it can also mean hopes, chances, an opinion, or an idea, like you can to look at something. Something is visible. All right, so you have some, again, similar to the word see. It has, again, various meanings, not just see. All right, so we have eyeball, peg leg, and clubfoot right there. To see, it's like an eyeball walking around on peg legs and clubfoots walking around. All right, now when you use this is going to appear in other kanji. So when it appears in other kanji, what I usually like to think of is Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc., which is a big eyeball on legs. In this case, human legs, or peg leg and clubfoot, sure. But Mike Wazowski. All right, so let's draw that. Let's draw it, delete, get rid of that. So here we go. So this is what we've got. So we got the eyeball, and the clubfoot. All right, so it's the eyeball, peg leg, eyeball, peg leg, clubfoot. And that's the kanji for see, to see something, or be visible, an idea or an opinion. All right, cool. Next up, beginning. So here we have is the kanji for 2, and then human legs. So 2, and then peg leg and clubfoot. So in the beginning, You know, in the think of Bible story of Genesis, in the beginning there were two people with two peg leg and club foots each. Okay, or something like that. Two people each with two human legs each, or each with a peg leg and club foot. So two and peg. So it's beginning. Alrighty, let's do that. That's fairly simple. So we got the kanji for two, then peg leg, club foot. Alright, so let's do this. Two, peg leg, club foot. Beginning. You do see this in other kanji. I can't think of anything visually about it. Maybe you can think of Adam and Eve. So maybe a couple people with fig leaves on their crotches or whatnot. I don't know. That might help. No. But yeah. Right now, whenever I see it, I just think of beginning anyway. All right. Next up, defeat. All right. So, all right. Well, let me introduce something to you first. In fact, let's see what Hazig says about it. Does he mention that? So this is bound up right there. Also, if you... Alright, so here we go. Let's look right here. So this is what he's kind of teaching. Now, if you've done katakana, think of ku, or, yeah. So it kind of sort of looks like that. You might see it like this. You might see it like this with the little hook at the bottom. But yeah, bound up. It's a two-stroke. It's just two strokes. Yeah. So, yeah. So just a drop, then this thing right here onto the side, bound up. Now it could be tied up or tied up with seaweed, or you might even think of handcuffs. Could be a good visual. Handcuffs. Something bound up. Something that's restrained. All right. So let's look at this kanji. So we have restrained, SpongeBob, defeat. So defeat, something negative, to bear or assume responsibility, makaseru or something. So bound and SpongeBob. Defeat is easy picture. Okay, so the way I was thinking of like the, again, he was in a cooking competition. SpongeBob was in a cooking competition with Neptune or something. He lost, so he was bound up and then forced to work with King Neptune for eternity or something. I don't know, something like that. Perhaps he was caught by plankton, like I was saying there, but bound up. So SpongeBob bound up in seaweed. Bound. All right, so let's write that kanji. Okay, so here we are. So there we are, bound up. SpongeBob. All right, so do bound, then do SpongeBob, or you can do I. You can do bound, I. Animal legs. And I'm not doing the proportions very good, but that's okay. But anyway, this is defeat, to be defeated. Bound up SpongeBob is defeated. Defeat. Bound up SpongeBob is defeat. Okay. Now here we have bound up again. But in this case, it's a reference to 10,000. So one and bound, or bound up. If you think of 10,000 maniacs, every one of the 10,000 maniacs needs to be bound in handcuffs, or the four zeros looks like two handcuffs, right, of 10,000. So yeah, two sets of handcuffs, sure. One bound up in two sets of handcuffs. Okay, whatever. Note that for this, the bound is backwards in that the food. So let's look at the stroke order real quick. Yeah, right there. Oh, actually, wrong stroke order. We're doing it for 10,000, right? So yeah, right there. So 1, 2, and 3. That's more like saber, but it's okay. That sometimes happens. So here we go. Let's write this up. All right. So let's write 10,000. So there's the 1, 10,000. So let's do 1, kind of like a saber. Boom. All right, and that's 10,000. What is that program you're using for kanji writing? Jay is asking. I'm using Smooth Draw, which is 4.0.5. It's a free program, and whatnot, and I'm using a very cheap pen pad for the writing as well. All right, so we got 1, and remember this is backwards in what you normally write for bound, for 10,000. That does happen a couple times in other kanji, but rarely. So you might want to think of a story to recall that. So yeah, bound is backwards. Good. All right, next. 10,000. 10,000. One bound up when two. Yeah, yeah, good. One bound up. All right, bullseye. So here we have is. Okay, I have to teach something again. I'm going to teach which is called a bullseye. Let's see, is a ladle. All right, so here's what Hasek says on the matter. See if he mentions it or not. Yeah, right there. Oh, and he's he's treating that like it's in this case I'm thinking of okay, it's an actual kanji. There you go. All right, but I'm not worried about being an actual okay, so when you get to the point where you learn as an actual kanji, you're all right. So this is what we're looking here. Now, I don't think of it as like a soup ladle or a soup scoop or whatnot. Something that can bound up drops of water into one thing. So think of bound up. There's bound up. And then think of bound up with a drop. So yeah, think of a ladle which binds up a bunch of drops of waters into one bowl of soup or whatnot. So that's a ladle. Now, let's look at this kanji. So here we have is bullseye. Now this is what Hasek calls it, bullseye. Here are some various things. It means your mark, your objective, the target of what your intention is. It's also used as an adjective ending, but yeah, teki or something, but matomeru. Bullseye. So when you hear it with bullseye, it's that way because of Hasek's keyword, but here's a bit more mark, target, or objective. That's a much better understanding of what it means. Because when you start learning vocabulary word, that makes a lot more sense. Your aim, mokuteki. Let's draw this. Control Enter. Alrighty. So probably saw that. So on the left side, do white. Bound up. In fact, I forgot to read the story to you. So here's the story. White dove and ladle, or bound up and drop. So bullseye, said the old lady. When she saw the white dove eating her bread, she aimed her ladle and threw it at him, and boom, knocked the bird out with her ladle. There we go. Maybe she was hunting white doves. Who knows? All right, so there we go. And again, this is very simple. White, ladle, white. And again, this is bullseye. Your aim, your intention. Bullseye. Boom. And I don't think you're going to see this in any other kanji, so don't worry about that. If you do, think of the comic book character Bullseye. Sure, why not? I don't think he's appeared in Daredevil yet, the series. Except in like little cameos where, let's see. Alright, so guy saying, Anton, as a non-English speaker, I was at a loss with Bullseye's translation. Yeah. A few of the Hasek's choices are creative, but yeah, for someone who's a non-English speaker, yeah, even English speakers, can be confusing. Okay, so what we have here is 10i. Alright, here's something we haven't been taught before, the needle. Let's see what Hasek real quick. Let's see, I think... Yeah, right here, fish guts. Well, in this case, it was kind of like clubfoot, but in this case, he also likes to use needle. Depends on. I prefer to use clubfoot personally. It depends on how it's gone. Let's see, what is he doing? Yeah, that right there. So if it doesn't have a hook on it on the end, then it's a needle. Sure. Not a needle, a hook. A hook. All right, so this is. Not the fish guts, but what he wanted to do was talk about something like this. And then there's stuff here. Okay? So it's like something like that he wants to think of as being a hook. Something that's hooking something and pulling it back. So a hook. If you sit like this with the little thing right there, then try to think clubfoot. You know, just keep the two separate. If it's without that little toe thing, yeah, it's just a hook. Alright, so let's look at what we've got here. So we have a needle, an eye, and then this hook. Alright, needle, eyeball, hook. Alright, so imagine someone saying, pull it out straight away. So in this case, the meaning of straight away means honesty, frankness. It could also mean fix or repair. You're going to see in other kanji it means or not in other kanji, in other vocabulary words, to repair something, to fix something. Also be chokusetsu, like to be straightforward, honest. Straightforward, there we go. Straight away. Alright, so imagine the story is pull it out straight away. So when a needle is stuck in your eye, you grab the loop of the hook by a hook and then pull it out straight away. Okay? Yeah, it's kind of a graphic story, but there we go. Let's see. So here we are, straight away. And again, this could also mean to fix. I began to think of it as being to repair or fix something as well. So fix something straight away. So straight away. So do the 10. Do the, actually probably be more up here at the top. 10 I hook. Straight away. Straight away. Okay. Yeah, good story. These stories can get graphic. I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I don't apologize. They need to be graphic. Okay, next up. Straight away, straight away. And again, mainly you're going to see it in either honesty, straightforwardness, also in repairing or fixing something. Alright, tool. Yeah, this is going to learn this part of the primitive down here. One in animal legs. Alright, so eyeball, and this right here at the bottom we're going to think of as a tool belt. So we'll learn that as part of with it. So before you use your tool, you should eye it over before you put it in your tool belt. Or in maybe utility, well, tool belt, maybe not utility belt, you could. There's another tool called utilize, which might be better for utility belt, but or to use utility belt. Okay, so here we go. Alright, so we have tool. So we have the eye, got the needle. I'm sorry, wait, I've got this backwards. I'm doing truth. Okay, so we have eye, then tool belt. And this is for tool, gu. Now let's look at this word. Now, here are some words this is used for. So it's used in reference to tools or utensils, a means to do something, to possess something. And there's some other things. It's counter for suits. It's also, you're going to hear it for counter for sets of furniture. Sets of furniture, kagu or whatnot. Alright, so again, same as the story. You want to eye over your tool belt. So here's eye. Now, the story for tool belt. Now here's tool belt. Right there. So one little animal leg. So maybe it's like it looks like a hobby horse, or you know, the saw horses or whatnot. So you put a little table on little animal legs to work with your tools or something. And there's your tool belt laid up on a table, a little animal legs. It could be that, whatever. But when you see this here, think tool belt. So there we go. So we have eye. So you're going to eye over your tool. So you take your tool up, look it over with your eye, and then put it in your tool belt. Alright, that's your tool. The whole thing is tool. Okay. Kanji ga suki desu, Jay says. Okay, yes, I like kanji as well. Tool. Alright, next kanji. True. Now, this is capitalized because I guess true, when you're putting true in spreadsheets, activates the logic functions of spreadsheets, so that's why it's not necessarily a good thing to do. This is not a very good word to use, but yeah, so that's the reason why it's sometimes capital or written in a weird way, or even not there at all. Okay, so here we have is needle and tool, or needle, eye, and tool belt. So needle, eyeball, tool belt. In ancient religions, the eye of the needle is the tool of truth. Now we just need to inject people in the eye with truth serum from a needle as a tool of truth. Okay, so anyway. So it means true. It could also be in reference to reality. And it's a Buddhist sect, but I've never seen a reference to the Buddhist sect. But anyway, reality. Okay, true, reality, Buddhist sect. Alrighty. And let's do this. Alright, so the eye of the needle is the tool of truth, or the needle is the tool of truth. So, there that. Needle, I, then tool. Wow, that is really ugly. Alright, so let's do needle. Do needle I. Like that. We can do the hook and now it becomes straight away, when, or do the tool belt and that becomes, oh yeah, actually, let's see. I and then tool belt. So needle, I, tool belt. That's truth, or reality. Truth, reality. Okay, next up. Ah, good. This is a fun one. Okay, craft. Now, if you learned Hiragana Katakana, this is the I want to say but right now, just think of craft, construction, building something major, koji, construction. All right, so what's good is it looks like an I-beam used to craft large buildings. Okay, and in kanji, just imagine a construction I-beam. All right, so let's write it. That's very simple, and you're going to see this in a few kanji as well. But okay, so there we go. So we have right there. All right, that's construction. So cool. Yep. There we go. I-beam. Very simple. Craft, construction, craft or construction, craft or construction. All right, next up. Okay. Now here we're going to do by one side. Let me teach you that first, then we'll come back to this kanji. Okay, let me delete that. All right, here we go. All right, so what we're going to be teaching. All right, so I'm going to show you a couple things. We're going to teach this, and we're going to teach this. Now, the only difference was direction of the stroke, the first stroke that I did. So how do I decide which stroke goes first? So it depends on what's in here, what pops down in here. So if in here, the stroke order happens to go like that, across, the first stroke order of the thing inside goes across from left to right, then your first stroke orders of the entire kanji is going to be this one, then followed by this. Now, on the opposite side, if your first thing is going down like that, if your first stroke is going down like that, then your first stroke in this kanji will be going down, then across. So it depends on knowing what's inside, determines what you're going to be doing with this, with which stroke goes first. I don't know if that's going to be always the case. It just seems to be the case in the kanji which happen to use this by one side. Now, when I say by one side, imagine like someone has a little strap across her chest. Imagine a little strap across her chest and a little strap across her arm, and then let's say a gun holster or something, and it's strapped underneath their arm by their side, and they cross pull it out like a gun or a hidden, like a concealed weapons carry. Yeah, it's concealed to the side or on their hip, on the sides of their hip or whatnot. So the gunslinger on the side of the hip, or the water bottle on your side of your hip, something by your side, or you can even be a friend by your side, whatever. So anyway, by your side, by one's side. Now, what we have is this is the kanji for left, as in left or opposite of right, not left the opposite of state. This is left the opposite of right, and it just pretty much means that it means to the left. Now, Hazig adds some weird stuff about the left side is the devil's side, but let's just keep it simple. Imagine a construction worker. When you hear left, think that he's carrying something as he's carrying the material, the construction I-beam under his left arm, because he's building. He's using tools with his right arm. But okay, so anyway, construction I-beam under his left arm. Now, look at that. Let's look at that stroke order. The stroke order for construction I-beam is from left to right, not top to bottom, but left to right. So that means the first stroke order is going to be this one. Now, let me go check real quick. Here's the stroke order. So you see right there, there's the first stroke order, here's the second one. Right here for right, which we learn later, is going down. So the first stroke order is going down. And same here for possess. The first stroke goes down in the contained kanji, so in the contained primitive, so that happens. Anyway, Don't sweat it. All right, but anyway, that's the... So what we are learning, left. So we're learning left. So large construction worker carries an I-beam on his left side. By one side, I-beam. Let's write that down. Okay, 4 people watching in the stream. So this is what we're doing. This is to the left. Hidari. Alright, so first stroke order, second stroke. I'm going to do the whole thing. And this is the stroke that helped determine... Well, I'm drawing this ugly. This is really bad. And I apologize. Oh boy. Okay, yeah. But anyway, there's left. To the left. To the left. Construction beam to your left. Or construction site to your left. Who knows? Whatever. But by your side. Okay, let's go to the right. Okay, yeah, so here's the story I did. So here's by one side and mouth. And it means to the right. So this is me, to the right. Now, by one side, mouth. A mouth under his right side. So remember in the movie The Shawshank Redemption, there was the old guy, I forgot his name and whatnot, and he kept he wanted a maggot from... the main character, and he said he used the maggot to feed the mouth that was under his right side. It was on his right side, the little bird that was under his right side. Yeah. So yeah, mouth by his side on his right was just a little baby bird he was feeding. There you go. So mouth to the right. Okay, so let's do that. And again, that first stroke is going in a different way than... Alright, so first stroke is going to go down. Second stroke is going to go across. Third stroke, down, across. Again, now it goes down. Alright, so left, right, left, right. Okay. There we go, left and right. And now you know the stroke order, so... Not that it matters. it helps a little bit if you have to, like, use your... You see a kanji, you want to write a kanji down. If you kind of know the stroke orders of these kanji, these simpler kanji that are used in other kanji, writing correctly just comes naturally. Just by a side effect of just learning it in this manner. It's not essential; it just happens. All right. Anton say dark and occult craft stories kind of fun. Yes. There you go. Yeah. Draw a little I-beam on your left side to summon the kanji devils or something. I don't know. Next, what do we got? Possession, to possess something. Okay, now here we're going to use turkey drumstick. Now this is not. Yeah, maybe moon. Who knows? Maybe under the light of the moon. Okay. So this kanji, possess, what it can also mean, to have something, to exist, aru, or exist for a non-animate object. Something happened, something occurred. Or usually like to have something, hai, arimasu, or aru, possess. Yeah. By one side, turkey drumstick. A man's most important possession is food, which is the turkey drumstick he keeps by his side to eat later. We can also say is, okay, his possession under his moon, I'm trying to think moon, or maybe an astronaut is traveling on the moon, so he's putting all his possessions by his side, because pockets are limited, who knows. Yeah, that could work as well, yeah, sure. Okay, so man's most important possession. Now again, the first stroke order is going down, then across, and then again, this doesn't really curve it. Really, it says actually just straight down. Okay, so let's... Oh, yeah, I screwed that up already. Okay, so we're going to go down, across, and finish out with moon or turkey drumstick. Alright, so offline? Am I showing up as offline? Shoot. I should be offline. Got plenty of time left in the stream. I've done more than 2-hour streams. Could someone else respond to me if, in fact, let me type it out. No, you're not. Okay. Am I showing as offline? Alright. All right, let's see if they reply back to me. And you are online now. Okay, good. Good. Okay, but anyway, so that's possession. To possess something. Well, yeah, adu. And to exist. So yeah, it's possession, existence, something happened. Okay, next up. Ah, good. Now, we already know 7 is meant for cut. We gotta introduce this thing right here, dagger. So let's see what let's see here. Stroke orders. That's what we learned. So there we learned possession, craft, dagger, page 47. What are the pages off? Am I missing something? Okay, right here, or sword or dagger. Yeah, right there, the primitive form. In primitive form is used as dagger. Okay, sure. We'll go with that. Okay, so this is the kanji for cut. Now, some other meanings it has: to be cut off, or to be sharp, kireru. So to cut off something, or to turn off something, and to cut off, to be sharp, be able to cut something. All right, so it's the primitives are slice, or in case the sword slice from the Seven Samurai, and a dagger. Okay, so let's look at dagger real quick. Let me get rid of here. So here's dagger. Okay, so it's sort of like the bound, the little stroke for bound, and then the second stroke for bound, but and then there's a little. Now you might also see this dagger written like this. You might also notice this looks a lot like ri right there. But yeah, you'll see dagger written as a primitive, and then some other stuff's happening here. It's okay. So yeah, we also use that as sword or dagger as well. I think that usually uses more as sword though. Till it clicked at the okay. Yeah. So this is dagger. As a kanji itself, like katana, it's sword. So we've already seen is that we're seeing some primitives that are kanji in and of themselves. Bound or ladle, bound up drops, that's Kana, and also seashell, SpongeBob is actually shellfish, and then this is dagger is actually sword. Okay, so now we have is 7 and sword. So slice, cut down in their glory. Now we see the 7 samurai sliced down at the end by daggers of the bad guys. Well, actually in the movies, I think one guy was killed with the gun. And not all 7, I think only 4 of the 7 were killed in the movie. Spoiler alert. Alright, so let's do this, sliced. Oh, let me make, and like they were saying, it also means to cut off for something or to be sharp. So there's the 7, right, and there's the dagger. Alright, so there's, remember, again, 7, that the upper stroke is first, then the peg leg, and then the 7, then the 7. Alright, there we are. Kireru. Cut, or what do we call it? To cut, to slice. Alright, Jay is saying, ooh, some dude saying, ooh, or oh, and then Jay is saying, konnichiwa. Okay. Got a conversation going. Alright, let's see. Next up. Ah, good. So here's that other version of, in fact, let me see. Yeah, see right, yeah, that'll say right there. Where you'll see it stretched out. So yeah, what he's saying is like when it's in that manner, think of saber. Okay, that makes more sense, sure. Alright. Alright, so now we have his SpongeBob SquarePants and his saber. And it's rule. Now this rule is a little different. This doesn't mean to rule over something. Well, it could mean to rule over something, or the rule of law. To follow or base something upon, to model after. Kisoku is, yeah. Hosoku, kisoku. Yeah, we don't have kisoku in there. Okay. Hosoku. Yeah, that's okay. Rule of law. To follow, be based upon. So yeah, that rule. All right, not ruler, but rule. Rule of law. Okay, so So here we have SpongeBob and Saber. So there are rules in this kitchen. Now, rules in this kitchen, Mr. Crab. SpongeBob wields his mighty spatula like a mighty saber to keep the people in line with his rules. So maybe the SpongeBob formula is against it. So, okay. So we have SpongeBob SquarePants, Boom Boom, and his saber, his little spatula saber. All right. So here's the stroke order. Do SpongeBob, Boom Boom, and then, like I said there, here's the saber, and it'll also be something here, saber, and there we go. So here's SpongeBob and his saber, boom. Okay, and that's rule. Keep the rules. Keep the rule in line. You're gonna have SpongeBob wielding a saber. Keep the employees in line. There we go. Rule. Next up. Okay, separate. Now, this looks like bound up or coup, but again, the stroke order is going to be similar to 10,000 in that the second stroke goes first, whatnot. But to separate, branch off, to divert. Now, this means to keep things separate, to go in a different direction, or sometimes like tokubetsu, a specialty or extra. So it's not separate; it's separate. So it's not separate as in to divide, it's separate as in it's a different version. Branch off, diverge. There we go. Now, what do we have for the story? We have mouth, handcuffs. Now again, the handcuffs, like they mentioned, it's fu, it's the one side, then the downward stroke. To keep the hostages separate, have their mouths gagged, handcuffed, and guard them with a saber. There we go. So separate. Fairly visual story. So okay, so you have somebody. All right, so we have them. There's their mouth. They are bound up or handcuffed and guarded with the saber. All right, so here's the stroke order. So do the mouth, and I'll do this in a separate one. So same as 10,000, but in this case mouth and. All right, and then finally do the same thing. And kind of looks a little different, yeah. And then saber. Have their mouths handcuffed? Sure, why not? I probably wrote that wrong. Who knows? Bound and gagged, sure. You can also have their mouths handcuffed, but you can say mouths bound and gagged, whatever. It doesn't matter. You can change these stories to your preferred. Like I said, you can create your own mem notes here. Like you can actually create your own. You don't have to go out in the memorize. You don't have to go off these. You can like copy it, paste, and make your own little variant or whatever. Doesn't matter. Is that the last one? Is there one more? Yep. Okay. Hey, that's the last one. That was about 36 minutes. Good. So we started at an hour 44. It is now 22. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 35 minutes. So last one's 35 minutes. This is 35 minutes. So if that's the pace, so it's doing about 2 minutes per kanji. If that's the case, that's the case. That means, holy crap. So 555 kanji. That's about 1,100 minutes, or close to 1,200 minutes, which is 20 hours. Holy crap, that's going to be 20 hours of video for learning 555 kanji. But probably a pretty damn good investment of time for the student. So yeah, we had 4 people watching in the stream. I tell you what, let me have a vote. Since it's 3 o'clock here my time, 3 p.m., what were my plans for tonight? I tell you what, show of hands. If y'all like me to go one, because I've been doing these streams for up to 3 hours. If you'd like me to do one more lesson, say yes. In fact, let me write that down as well. Do you guys want me to do one more lesson? Okay. Since we've got 4 people in the stream, yeah, why not? Or again, I can call it a day or whatnot. But yeah, this has been kind of fun. But let's see what they think. Hell, I was only planning on doing 1 lesson or 2 lessons, and then I end up with the 3rd one. Okay, nobody's replying. Maybe I should go and get more coffee and get a drink and. All right, let's do it. All right, let me go get one more pot of coffee, and let's do it. If you're up for it, I would like it, but if you're good to go. All right, I am good to go. Let me just get a little bit more coffee, a little bit more water, and we'll do it. I'm excited. Some Jackie Chan movies on TV, but it's in Japanese, I think. Fortunately, again, I did all these 555 kanji and thought of the stories recently, so they're fresh in my head, even though it was like from 5 months ago. So I get to talk about it, write it down, and try to put in something that people can get some type of weird visual story out of. And the idea, again, is not just to learn, these aren't word mnemonics, these are visual mnemonics, so you're like picturing these characters in your head. The problem's going to come up like if I'm thinking of characters that isn't very commonplace. There's rumble in the Bronx. Come on. Give me more coffee. What's this? Alright, what do we got? Something's happening. Alrighty, cool. There we go. Alright, so let's try for lesson 4. Cool. Alright, so let's see, number 4, 1108. Kanji, let's see, make sure. And we're at somewhere around the 2-hour mark and something. Okay, so let's go next. And okay, lesson 4. Alright, so this is 2 hours 27 minutes. This is the beginning of lesson 4. So here's my introduction. Hello, this is Nuke Marine, and this is the suggested guide for Japanese literacy, course number 3. So this is the Remembering the Kanji Optimized, part 1, which is the 555 kanji from 2001 that Kanji Odyssey taught in the RTK order. We are on lesson 4. Here are the kanji we'll be teaching in this lesson. So, you know, street, mother, elder brother, outside, none. So these 50 kanji, this is up to number 112 in the Hazig's Remembering the Kanji book, but we'll be obviously skipping over quite a few. If we're going from 90, let's see, from 99 to 12, that's skipping over about 5 of them. So a lot of these are going to be learning. And it looks like we're learning a few extra primitives, but not too bad. Alright, so this should be, now let's look at the primitives we'll be using for this lesson, for lesson 4. So it looks like spike, child, woman, mother, teenager, brother. I usually say Bart Simpson for that. Little, big, and there. Okay. So that's what we'll be covering over the next 15 minutes. And let's see, what is the, hey, let's start at number, what, page 50? I'm getting a feeling these pages are off. There we are. There we go. Okay. And let us begin. So expect this to take about 30 to 40 minutes, and but by the time it is, you should have all these fairly. If you also when you're doing the lessons, if you're writing them down as I'm talking, I think by the time you're done, you'll think of again when you think of the stories, think of them in visual terms, not the words, but the picture in your head, the story in which I'm talking about. All right, so let's go to preview. So the first one should be street. Let's see what we got, and that is the first one. Good. Okay. Now, yeah, this is like Cho. One and stick. So think of the program Sesame. So street. Think of. Yeah, there's no. Yeah, it doesn't have additional meanings. Yes, it's reference to like a section of a city. So it's usually city, or okay. You have the country, Japan, the prefecture, Kanagawa, the city, Yokosuka-cho, and then you have the area of the so Kanagawa-chen, and then you have a street, Ichome. So it's like the third street in this in the city. Yokosuka-shi is the city, Cho is the town in the city, and then you have the street with it. So when you start learning Japanese addresses, you'll see Cho pop up in there. So yeah, this is a kanji for street. And today the program is brought to the Sesame Street, which is brought to you by the letter T. So that's a kind of a funny story. When you use another kanji, think of this as nail. So let's bring this up. Let's clear that. All right, so we'll learn the kanji first. So when you hear the word street, let's think of Sesame Street. Okay. All right, and then give it a little hook at the end. All right, and sometimes you'll see it in other kanji, like you'll see it like here, and then something's happening over here and whatnot. Or you might see it where it's over here, and then off to the side a little bit, and then something's happening here. But again, you're still thinking a nail, like a T nail that's driving a spike, or a nail driving a railroad spike or a railroad nail. So when you see it in other kanji, just imagine a spike, which as opposed to a needle which goes through it, this is a spike, large nail. There you go. All right, but on its own, it is street. Street. Okay, next up. All right, now here we have his town. Now in Heizig, what Heizig did, he called this village. Let me see, bring this up real quick. Yeah, see, he called it village. I'm changing that. In this case, we're calling it town, because it's all Nura, which he calls town, is actually village. In just the way it's used in Japanese Japanese spoken language, written language, whatever. All right, so Jay makes the mention, hey, that looks like a T intersection, a street T intersection. Streets intersecting in a T. Yeah, that's also a good idea. Yeah, go with that. But yeah, so here is town. So when I hear town, I'm going to say it's in reference to this kanji, even though Heizig teaches that as being village. So whenever you see this, like this kanji and this pops up here as a definition of other meanings, the reason is because of Heizig. But yes, town, block, or even a street. Ichome or something, Honcho. But it's in reference to city names or city addresses. All right. Okay, field in the street. A town like one that has lots of rice fields surrounded by streets. So yeah, your traditional towns in Japan. This feels like that. It's like there's the farm fields, and then there's the little nails and sign nails or streets that help demarcate the town area. All right, let's learn that. Okay, so we have there's the rice field. You can also think of brain, but I can't think of a story that involves that. So yeah, so again, it's just on its own, rice field. And look at the stroke order of rice field. Remember that. It's a little different than what you would think. Well, that's kind of pointless. Why did I do that? Okay. So there's rice field. Then there's nail. Okay. Good. That's town. Town. Next. Can. Now this is not can as in soda can. This is can as able to do. You have the ability to do something. Like Kana. And then here it has a couple of things. Mustn't do something, should not do something. So can, able, passable. So mouth on a street asking for things. Can I get some help? Can I get some directions? Can I have some money? Can you please speak English? Okay, can. So on the street is this mouth saying, now the stroke order is going to be a little different, but I like that story. So on the street is this mouth asking all these stupid questions. Can I do stuff? All right. So here's the stroke order. In fact, let me show you the stroke order. What am I talking about? Okay. So right up here. So you can see we're doing the first is the one, then you do the mouth, then you complete the nail. Okay? So that's the stroke order. So it's not what you normally think. So we do the one, mouth, and then finish the nail. One, mouth, nail. And that's can. Because you can. Because you can. And you notice it goes off. Actually, it probably looks a little better if I make the mouth a little bit bigger. Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, it can. If you see this in other kanji, you might, because the only thing I think of it happening is in dance. I think of the can. You know, little ladies, you know, with the frilly dresses kicking their legs up high. Okay, so that's can. Passable, mustn't, should not. All right. Able to do something. Alright, now we have is child. Let's see what Hazing did real quick. Maybe he did something a little different. Let's see. Alright, he just taught it kind of on its own. Okay. So now you'll see this is used also in Sign of the Rat. I didn't know that. So one of the Chinese zodiacs, a very specific point in time from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. for a sign of the Chinese zodiac. But yeah, in this case, we're going to think of as child. It's mainly what you're going to think of it, and it's just a pictographic, so there's not really a story of how to draw it. Well, when you used in other kanji, think of the baby. I used to think of the baby Maggie Simpson. You can use anything that references either a child or a baby, but a young child. Okay, and let's look at the stroke order real quick. You can see how that second, so it kind of looks like if you've ever, I tell you what, I'll demonstrate it with the writing here. So here's kind of what's happening. I'll do it over here. So if you ever do the ma or ah, so that's the first stroke. And then what we're going to do is at the end of the first stroke, we're going to do this right here. You notice with a little hook. So ma, curve, and then a little. And that could be like the arms of the child opening up to like hug their mom. Okay. So that's child. So let's do this. So this is what we're doing. Child. Okay. So that. Now that right there is a kanji in itself, but we'll discuss that later. Alright, and there we have it, child. Next kanji. And again, when you see it in other kanji, you'll probably see it a little bit more distorted, something like that, or maybe on this side. It's alright. And I think, yeah, I think one, you'll actually see it under here. I may be misremembering. I think you'd see it like that as well. Alright, let's see what's next. But normally it's used in like ko or kodomo, just child. Now we have as woman. Now this is my here, if you know hiragana, katakana, this is like ku no ichi, so we'll explain that. Ku no ichi, which is reference to female ninja as well. Ku no ichi. When you use another kanji, what I'll say in your stories, I think of Wonder Woman or some other, maybe Xena, warrior princess, or whatever, some type of visual of woman. Okay, I sometimes cheat and think Marge Simpson, but you know, I've changed that because I use mother for Marge Simpson now. Okay, so let's do this. All right, so here's, so again, woman is just going to be kind of like ku, and then no, it starts here, no, and then ichi. So let's see right here. So, what the heck are you doing there? Come on, stop that. Okay. Alright, in fact, let me show you the stroke order as well. Alright, so there's the stroke order. See how it's sort of balanced, but okay, so it's kind of like over here you have the ku. I feel like I'm doing this wrong. Alright, so actually let's kind of keep it in the center right here. Ku, no, what this was the particles that went to make mother kind of got distorted over time and became this. You don't worry too much about it. Alright, some dude is asking what program is this. You talking about the program I'm using to draw? It's called Smooth Draw. Okay, so that's woman. In fact, let me make sure about this. And also in reference to female. So it means either woman or female. Kunoichi. Next up. Alright, now, a mother is fond of her child. A woman is fond of her child. Woman and child, fond. And it also means to like, to be pleasing, to like something. Fond, to be pleasing. I like cake. Keiki suki desu. I like her. Kanajo ga suki desu. Whatever. Fond. Okay, let's do that as a... let's write that out. Okay, so you notice right here when we did that, it's right here. When it's done, it doesn't go through. It kind of stops right there. Yeah. Okay, so we do woman. That's a very ugly looking. I'm drawing that really ugly. And then yeah, and that's like. Let me look at the stroke order real quick. Yeah, you can kind of see what I'm doing wrong. Okay, yeah. So ku, no, ichi, there's a child. All right, and then and you'll notice with mother, this is where it follows sort of the same thing as very similar to what's happening in woman. All right, so instead of like the hook or the L, it's kind of like the hook, which whatever, and then the no or the bound up thing, drop, and I'll demonstrate that with the writing. But so this is mama, mother. Now this is in reference to either, usually just in reference to one's mother or another person's mother. J512. Nihon ga sunde imasu ka? Nihon ni. Do I live in Japan? Yes, I live in Japan. I live in Yokosuka, which is about 40 minutes south of Tokyo by train. Okay, so this is mother. So let's show, and when you see this in, and I'll show you how it's drawn in other things. In fact, let me show you there's going to be some primitives here. Right there, yeah. So I'm going to need to demonstrate that as well. Alright. So here we go. So let's do mother. Alright. So drop through. Okay, so the way it's happening here. First thing is, and it's sort of like off to the slant, but it's like here. Okay, so off and slightly slanted. There's that little hook. Slightly slanted. There's a little hook. Drop. Slightly slanted. Now think of the little drops as maybe either the drop her nipples on her breast or whatnot, and then this final stroke. Drop. That was really ugly, but yeah. All right, so some ways. This is mother. A very ugly kanji writing of mother. Now, some things the way you're going to see this written. You're going to see it at the top. You might see it like this. Here, which again is mother, but here's the stroke order. And it follows the same stroke pattern as mother does anyway, but instead of a drop, it's like a straight line right there. So yeah, and also you'll see it where like in another kanji we'll be learning, you'll see it drawn like still going in the same order, but and again, this is when you see it in other kanji. But you can see the stroke order. And let's finish it off here. Let's finish it off above it. Okay. Go down, then across. So yeah, that across is the last one. Oh, kami-sama. Oh, kama. Yeah, great mother. Yeah. Oh, ka-san. Okay, so yeah, you'll see it at the top, in which case I think, yeah, so it's like a mother or mother here. You'll see it in, yeah, we'll see that pop up, but yeah, that's mother. And when you see it in other kanji, think maybe Marge Simpson is a good visual. Alright, now we have elder brother, mouth on legs. That should be, it can mean big brother, older brother, or just an older person. In reference to just another person who happens to be older or younger gentleman. Oh, Nissan. Mouth, peg leg, clubfoot. My elder brother was basically a mouth on legs when he was a teenager. Yeah, a mouth on legs. Older brother, elder brother. In other kanji, think of this as Bart Simpson, the older brother of the Simpsons. Sure. Okay, so let's do that. So we just do a mouth. And then there's the human legs, or peg leg and clubfoot. So, yeah, very simple. Just do mouth, peg leg and clubfoot. So a teenager or older brother is just a mouth, not a teenager. I'm sorry. You can either think of teenager or a Bart Simpson. So yeah, just a mouth on legs, older brother. Ani, Oni-san. Okay, that's simple enough. And what else we got? Hopefully I answered that guy's question. Little. So here we have is that stick, but with the hook and little animal legs. Let's look at the stroke order real quick. There it is. So stick with the little hook, and then animal legs. Okay, let's see what the stories are. Actually, yeah, and there's a little extra with that. Let me mention that. These are... you're going to see these in other kanji. So let me just go with what Hazig has mentioned it real quick. Yeah, so he's there right there. Yeah, so he's talking about little, not at the bottom, but at the top. Actually, I say at the bottom, but also at the top. But we'll talk about that. Okay, so when you see the little stroke seen at the top of it, kind of see it upside down like this. So when it's at the bottom, it follows the same stroke order when it's at the top. I'll be demonstrating that when we are writing. But anyway, so this is little or small. Okay, so I tell you what, let's delete this and start it up. Alright, so what we want is, and if you've ever played the game of Atari, this is sort of like the symbol for Atari. I don't know why, but yeah, so it's a little stroke, 1, little stroke, 2. Alright, and that's little. Chisai. And what was mentioning is, you'll see this at the bottom of, so let's say you're writing some kanji and then all of a sudden you see it right here. This means little, or actually you won't see it with a hook, you'll see it this kind of like that. One, like this, 1, 2, 3. And then what you'll also see is 1, 2, 3 at the top, and then something's happening here. Now, when it's at the top of something, instead of it being little, I imagine them being sparklers. So maybe at the bottom of something, maybe for visuals, instead of it being little, maybe it's just a little exhaust or a little ignition flame, like at the bottom of a rocket going off. Like, yes, the flares of a rocket going off. When it's at the top of something, it's the flame of a candle. So this could be the flames of a rocket, and this could be the flames of a candle. The strokes are still the same, center and then the outside strokes, center and the outside strokes. So instead of visualizing little, because that's kind of hard to do, just visualize either candle flame or rocket flames. Cool? Next kanji. Alright, so now we have is the stroke order for small and then a little drop added. So this means few. As opposed to small, this is few, Sakoshi. Or it also says here maybe little, but maybe a little bit, not little as in size, but little as in a little bit, or a few. Alright, few. So let's talk about that. Here we go. So what we have is, let's do the little. Now the second stroke, the third stroke of little is going to be a little short. Few. Now what was the story we had? A few little drops. There. Yeah. That's kind of, yeah, okay, there we go. Alright, so we're going to write, I'm going to do this all at different strokes. So we're going to do that. Boom. Boom. No, it's a little shorter. Boom, boom, boom. There's the little drops. A few little drops. A few little drops. Few, a few. Looks like die with, looks like hole without the straight line. Yeah, yeah, I guess you could say that. I always think of, a little, you know, because again, you're going to have ho, this right here. This is what he was talking about. He's saying about ho. You're going to find out that's used in the kanji for tea. But don't worry about that. That's for later. Or, okay, but it doesn't hurt. So, there we go. Few. Little and few. Let's go next. Next kanji. Oh, here we go. Alright. Wow. This is a really cool kanji. Big. Large. Okay, large, big. Now, Hazig, he says, think of Saint Bernard as a big dog. When you see this in other kanji, you're going to be seeing a big dog. Now, by itself, it just means large or big, or the most, the greatest, the tallest, the whatever, size, something like number one. It's big. Or it just means bigger, whatever, and then large. Good. Now, think of a big dog or Saint Bernard. Something large. Because you can visualize that. So yeah, yeah. So here we go. Let's write it down. So the way it was saying it was, do the one, and then really you'll find out it's the kanji for person, but we haven't taught person yet. So person right now is actually kind of like the peg leg thing. Look, here's the side, and then off to there, a little drop to the side. Yeah, big dog. So we'll do one stroke, and then right there where it meets at the intersection, finish it off. Big. Oki. Then if you see it in other like kanji or whatnot, you know, you might see it here, whatnot, whatever. It's just think of a big dog. Saint Bernard. And then that's going to change some meanings anyway. Let's go. Next up. Next kanji. Okay, first things first, let's teach this, let's go to Hazig's first. Does he go in that? I guess he's calling that moon. Evening. Okay, yeah, little moon. I don't know why he put evening before moon, but evenings. Alright, so let's talk about this. Now, first thing, if you saw evening, if you learned hiragana and katakana first, you already know this is, now first thing, that's ku. And then if you do a little drop there, and that becomes ta, like wipe the ice cream off with the towel, like ta. Now, when you're seeing this as its own kanji, that's evening. As a primitive. Now, let me make sure. Am I learning evening? Now, I don't know why is this that evening should be taught first before many. I can't go back and, so evening times 2. 2 evenings to many. So let me teach you evening first, and I'll go back, because it's going to be coming up next anyway. Alright, so here's evening. This is evening. So, yeah. So it looks differently. It's not bound. It is not bound. That's a little different. But let me just show you the stroke order real quick. Okay. So there it is. 1, 2, 3. So it's a little thinner. It's a little thinner than bound. Alright, so again, it actually just looks like ta. Okay, so drop, drop, drop. Alright, so that's evening. Now, we'll discuss the rest later. Now we want to do many, so we want to have many evenings. Think of, over time, think of instead of many moons, now you're thinking of many evenings. So a small moon, but many, many evenings. Yep. So let's do that. So let's do many. So that's evening, and this is many. So it's written very similarly, because it's two of these together. Alright, and that's many. Let me show you the stroke order. There's the stroke order. It's more on top of each other, so we'll do it that way. More like above. Alright, so that's many. So evening, many. And I guess I should do the stroke order technically, which okay, many. Oi. So let's see what it says. So in this kanji, when it says many, it also means frequent or much, a lot. Many. Alright, next one's going to be evening. Right there. And again, it's evening. Yu, shoku, yuhan, yubei, whatever. Yeah. I think it's, what is it? Seki? But anyway, it's like ku and the little drop. And think of the katakana ta, which, again, is the same freaking thing. Okay? So not the wa. Evening. Evening. You. Next up. In fact, let me make sure. So yeah, that's the evening. And it probably looks more like that. So let's try to see if I can do it. One last thing. Let's see. Kind of like that. Come in like that and drop it. Boom. Done. Oi. Da. Alright, what's next? Oh, okay. Outside. I like this. So we have is evening and Harry Potter. Now, Harry Potter's a little differently because that stroke's going through the walking stick instead of starting at the walking stick. Okay. And when you see this kanji used in other vocabulary words, it could take the inference of being outside. Yeah, just outside. Now, it could be outside as in outside the house or outside one's country. So if you're a guy, this is the guy of Gai Kokujin or Gaijin. Igai, or outside one's concept, outside one's ability to think, outside one's ability to imagine, just outside something. It could be outside a concept, outside a location, outside an area, outside. Okay, so, and this is saying, outside, yells his Uncle Dursley. So in the evening, the young Harry Potter goes outside to perform magic. Alright, so yeah. Or I think it was a Prisoner of Azkaban, he was practicing magic under his bed covers, but in this case, so he'll be practicing magic outside. Sure. We'll go with that. Alright. Okay, so we'll do outside, so do the evening. Evening. And then stroke order and slightly curved. Alright, so let's do that. So we'll do the things for evening. And things for evening. Do that. Right there. Alright. And it cuts it. Cuts it like a knife. Outside. 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 Cool. And let me just show you the stroke order real quick. Yeah, it's this thing right there. Now that one is not. So yeah, I guess right now you could also, you don't have to cut through it. It's saying right there, so it might be just as well. Let's see. So yeah, why not? Let's just try it. Pretend like you don't have to cut through. Right there. Let's see what Hazig does, just for S and G's. I was about to say shits and giggles, but yeah, okay, yeah, he doesn't cut through either. So just the font seems to cut through. Alrighty, that's cool. What's next? Oh, I like this one too. Name. Hazig had a great story about this one. It's like, imagine like the tribes of Africa. So here you have his evening and mouth. So imagine in a tribe in Africa where a child is not truly has its name until the father goes out in the evening and with his mouth to the entire tribe shouts the child's name 3 times. And then that shall be the child's name from then on, you know, whatever. So my name is, in the evening, when it becomes dark, you open your mouth to say your name so people can recognize you. Well, that's another way of thinking. It's like, my name is, halt, who goes there, but yeah. Any evening, mouth, name. Namae, this is my, na of namae. So, okay. So let's see, yeah, I like that one. Alright, so it'll be more centered like that, a little off in the center, be a little off center, and then right there. So yeah, so evening, mouth. Name. Cool. Evening, mouth, name. And let's make sure here. Alright, so other things. So you're hearing name. What you can mean is your name, or another person's name, your family name, or your first name, or your entire name. Noted, something famous, your reputation, distinguished. Yeah, how well one knows you. So it's not just names. It could also mean popularity. Yeah, like you may. Yep, there we go. What's next? Alright, cool. Hey, wow, that took 30 minutes. That was even faster. Awesome. We are just at the 3-hour mark for the stream. Yeah, that was 30 minutes. That was fun. We were down to 3 people watching, so I think I'm starting to scare people off. Alright, so what's going to be happening? This video is going to be archived. What I'm going to do is make links to the timestamps of the video of which each of these start, and I think that'll make a very workable set of videos for people to watch to reference when they're wanting to learn kanji, and they don't have to go and I think this is going to be a better type of video than your standard kanji videos on YouTube. Is just showing the video and you're just seeing the stroke order go off and it just does its own thing. Maybe. I think I saw one, it was just showing Hazik's story to music, which is doable, yeah, and whatnot. So anyway, again, if you got comments or suggestions, complaints, corrections, doesn't matter. Hey, feel free to, when you're in the videos, in the comments, go for it. Again, this was fun. Hopefully people watching had fun. Hopefully people in the future who do watch this have fun. I get the feeling this is going to be a popular video series just because this is the thing most people want to start doing first, is learning kanji. Same thing as when I'm going to go back and do the Taikem grammar. I'm going to do that to video as well. After I finish with this kanji course, I'll do the Taikem to video, and also do the Core 2K, 6K optimized, the first 500 vocabulary words, similar to how I was doing the second set of 500 vocabulary words. And again, I think those are going to become very popular because those are the early things before people really know how to get things going. And maybe just those 3 types of videos will be enough to get people, okay, wow, okay, now I get it, I understand. And they don't need to watch videos after that to kind of get in the groove. They already know it. So yeah, when you're done with these 555, I don't think you'd want to sit through another 20 hours of videos for the second set of 555, but you might. I don't know. I'm going to do the videos anyway, because when I get to that section, I'm going to memorize. I'm going to do the videos and record the session while I'm doing it. But it'll only be done at, instead of this all being done in a batch of 15 characters, it'll be done 5 characters, do all the matching and whatnot, do the second set of 5 characters, do all the matching, third set. It'll take a little bit longer than 30 minutes per 15 characters, but that's fine. It should average about 5 minutes per 5 characters, 10 minutes per 5 characters. Sure. And it might even be faster than that, who knows. I don't know. I might have to do, yeah, because I don't think that second set of 500 is going to be as important. Once you figured out this first 500, you kind of know how you don't need have a video holding your hand through it. I'm not going to do it like I did here. Okay. How far is Hito in these lessons? Want to look what kind of story it is, 900 or something? Yeah. Yeah. That's a good question. I don't know which. Yeah, it's what reason. All right. Anton, the reason why Hazik holds off on person is that the primitive for person is using many kanji. And he didn't want that started early because he wanted to make sure when you start learning all these kanji, you pick a specific visual for who that person is going to be. Like in my case, I've picked Batman. So all my stories involve Batman interact in Kanji land doing stuff. Yeah. So there's a reason why he held off. Yeah, he could have introduced person real early on. No problem. You even see it like it's a subset of Oki or large. But don't worry about that. The reasons for him waiting, and in fact I kind of screwed up by I didn't show you the primitive for we'll wait for Chihuahua, and that's when we learn the primitive for dogs. Okay, big is not it. Alright, okay, so this is the 3-hour 4 mark, so just went a little bit over the 3-hour mark. I usually like to cut off my streams at 3 hours, but I don't think that's going to be a big problem. This has been fun. We took care of 4 lessons. It got it down to a half hour, so maybe, again, as we go on, and I'm not, again, it's not introducing a bunch of primitives, it's showing how all these kanjis are working together. That's going to be it's going to be fine. So again, yeah, 4 lessons. Yeah, wow, that's total about a little over, I want to say 2.5 hours, roughly 2.5 hours of video lesson. Yeah. Hey, thank you guys. This was fun. Like I said, if y'all weren't watching, I probably would have. If y'all weren't watching and commenting live, I probably would have stopped it around the second lesson, or maybe not even done the 3rd lesson, much less the 4th one. So yeah, thank you for that. And if Memorize is still fucking up tomorrow, I'll try to do this again. I technically can't do it till my evening time because of issues. I have an appointment or training to go to. But anyway, thank you all very much, and I will stop the stream here. See you all tomorrow. Maybe. Okay, and Jay says, Mata ne, arigatou gozaimashita. Well, thank you very much too. Stop stream.